So Alex, man, okay, here's the deal. Went to the zoo and I passed the elephants. I did. And I tried to tell them as loud as I can that Alex hates you.
Yeah, I think it's a little sad that you went out of your way to yell at elephants, first of all. I found a mouse in my house. I caught it, and I actually bought a hamster cage for it. My wife's like, you can't do that, idiot.
Speaking of rhinos, Alex, I don't know how to say this, but your skin, it's kind of the texture of a rhino.
I'm way ahead of you there, bud.
Today's the day. It's Marvel Snap Conquerors. It's Deadpool Domination. Are you ready?
I was born ready, baby.
Dude, your face looks freaking ridiculous, bud.
I know, man. But listen, let's not talk so much about my facial care routine. Let's take a moment to appreciate the amazing creators that are going to be in this event, including Dara, Nina, Regis, Pawnee?
Yeah, I get it. We've got 14 of the biggest creators in the world. I'm pumped.
Can you just remind me what the limited time game mode is and what it's all about?
Yeah, but it's the new mode. You're going to be wagering bubs instead of cubes. You know what? Like the thing that Wolverine says, hey, bub, to progress. And you go from like plate to plate. You like food, man. You talk about it all the time. And you can be working from cereal to chimichangas and more.
Oh, man, that actually sounds pretty fun. So the competitors have like 2 hours to collect as many bubs as they can to be crowned champion.
Exactly. But I got a follow-up question. What time is it over there in Canada?
It's 3:01 there, bud.
3:01? Dude, we're live.
We're live?
Oh my gosh, we made it. We're here. Hello, Alex. We're good to go. Oh, hello to you as well. And welcome to the next Marvel Snap Conquers Deadpool Domination. Alex, we have made it to Snapchat, to here. How you doing, man? I'm Cozy Snap.
I'm Alex Kocha, and guys, yes, we could not be more excited to be bringing you guys Deadpool's Domination here today. It's going to be an absolutely remarkable event, and I could not be happier to be sharing it with my co-host of the Snapchat, Cozy Snap.
Where Deadpool is the theme because the diner is the new limited time game mode. And buddy, I had the chance to see the movie Deadpool and Wolverine, and I kid you guys not, it's incredible. It's a masterpiece. I was seeing it live with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh at Comic-Con, and it was awesome. I was absolutely thrilled. And again, the future is bright, my friend.
That sounds incredible, Cozy. Can I get a star rating from you?
5 stars. Like today's format, buddy, for today's event. If you guys don't know, it is going to be a 2-hour event with 14 of the Deadpooliest content creators. Now, this is going to be a solo competition that cannot rely on teams.
Yeah, so the first person to get the most bobs within 2 hours will be crowned the winner. It's a solo competition. If they bust out, they only have a couple buy-ins in order to get back into the game.
Well, man, all I know is that we've got ourselves a absolutely stellar lineup of different content creators. And I'm pumped because we have some that play a lot of Marvel Snap, and we have others that are more new to the game, right? And so we're going to go ahead and introduce these awesome, talented individuals. Today, we've got ourselves all the way from Italy, Atrix. We have Chris, who said he saw the movie last night. It's going to give him an edge on the competition. Welcome in, Chris, a newer Snap player, but he plays a little bit. Dan's Gaming, the variety streamer himself. He's an OG coming back from the Justin TV days. Even has a Twitch emote himself. We have Das Medi, who is giving me Gambit for every single Marvel answer that I asked him. He loves Gambit, X-Men 97, and if you guys know Lyric, it's his brother. And then there's Dexter, who's most known that his best friend is Cozy. Thank you, Dexter. And he's a Cerebro Airshim lover, but now he hates Airshim. Which one is it, Dexter? Dara, the Pumper. His favorite card in the game is Dr. Octopus. His least favorite card, most hated, is Dr. Octopus. And then, for those that don't know, Disguised Toast. If you don't know, 4 million YouTube subs. He is an absolute card gamer coming from the roots of it. He's done a space assassin game. A lot of history here with Disguised Toast. Excited to have him to today's event.
And there's even more fantastic participants here today, including Fan, a fantastic variety streamer, Jeff Hoagland, who needs no introduction for a talented deck building, and of course, one of the most competitive card gamers on the planet. We also have KM Best, one of the highest MMR players in Marvel Snap's beta. Nina, recent dog mom to one of the cutest doggies in the world, Milo. We also have Pawnee. We have Regis, one of the nicest card gamers on the planet. And of course, Sacriel, a variety streamer focused on educational content.
So let's talk about the format a tad bit more. They're going to have 12 million bubs. Now, the cool thing is in the game mode, it's lifetime bubs. That's how you get the reward track. But today, it's current bubs. So you can't go crazy. You can't go all in all of the time. It's going to matter how much you currently have. They're going to have 12 million to start out, Alex. As they go up the rewards track, they'll get about 76,000 more, and they can option to buy 12 million more at one point during the competition.
Yeah, the strategy is really important here because you don't want to bust very early. What you want to do is you want to accumulate as many bubs as you can, because whoever accumulates the most is going to be the winner of the event. And that's the thing about Deadpool's Diner, Cozy. It's all about risk and reward. How many of your bubs are you willing to risk for that greater payoff if you happen to win the game?
Well, we're going to be jumping into the games here, and I can't wait to see. I know there's going to be some meta stuff with Airshim, Darkhawk, but I can't wait to see what the newer Snap players are going on, right? The Odins, the White Tigers, you guys have been there. The Spectrum on Going Dex. Like, what were you playing as we're going to be jumping into our first game?
Yeah, I was playing a lot of like Devil Dinosaur when I first got started, to be honest with you. And while I know Dexter's not running Devil Dinosaur, I remember very fondly playing some of my beginner decks and honestly having a tremendous time in Marvel Snap. And I can't wait to see what Dexter does here as he goes after the Abbey, I'm sure.
He's got himself a Cassandra Nova, the villain of Deadpool, and Wolverine in an Ajax deck, who I'm surprised Dexter's going the Affliction kind of route here. Excited to see what he's got as he goes against Pawnee.
It actually makes me really excited to see people bringing like new different types of decks. There was an entire possibility that 12 people would have brought 12 Airshim decks, but here we are with an Ajax Hazmat deck. I can't wait to see what Dexter's able to do with it.
All right, so we have Thien on the other side. Obviously, they're
better than Hope.
Both going to be playing some form of Kitty Pride. You have Asgard to go to as well as Abby, so less turns to try to win that Asgard for the draw, which in Dexter's case is going to be pretty advantageous.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting to see here that he's actually matched up against Pawnee. So, like, this is right off the top here, a mono competitor match here, where these bubs, I mean, if you think about it, this is like a divisional match in some sort of, a sporting event here. Dexter's got to get the dub, I'm sure.
So turn 4 here, he's got a Ravona that he could play down. Earlier you play Cassandra, typically the better, so he might go cast on Asgard, is what I would expect to see, because you don't want to go Ravona and Hazmat. Could go the Mobius, but I don't see Pawnee having too many of these cost energy cheating cards at the moment.
Yeah, so Cassandra Nova is the card that you can achieve in Deadpool's Diner, and it's a remarkably powerful card. It's actually, it's incredible, to be honest with you. And one of the things, though, is that it's really advantageous if you're playing against an Airshim player to play at any time. But if you're not against an Airshim player, you generally want to get her out early, because that's where she has the most impact.
One thing I want to make note of here is, if you guys can already see, we have 1 million bubs on the line. Keep in mind, they have 12 to go with. We're starting off pretty hot here. On turn 4, 5, and 6, it automatically doubles the stakes. And then each player is going to be able to double the stakes themselves.
It's a
Dexter, I can't even say my good buddy's name, is probably asking himself, why me? Why am I the first one to be commentated on? But brilliant play there with the Juggernaut to secure Asgard.
It's Juggernaut's one of those surprise cards that I think a lot of people forget about. Hasn't been meta for a little while here. There used to be like those Surfer, Juggernaut Storm decks you used to see all the time. The idea of running just a surprise Juggernaut, honestly, it can be a turn 6 winner. It's probably one of the most underrated cards in Marvel Snap right now. It's been 3/3 for the longest time I can remember, but that ability is just truly remarkable.
So we're seeing Pawnee here separate both Thena and Angela. We can see a look at her hand. She's got Sage, Darkhawk, and Mystique here. With a turn 7, that's a ridiculous hand that Pawnee has. This is actually going to be pretty tough for Dexter to win with what he has in his hand. The Hazmat being the biggest play because Pawnee's starting to put a lot of cards on the board.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, remember, Ajax can really pop off here, and Dexter's doing a really good job of holding on to this Hazmat, allowing Pawnee to fill the board, because the advantage to Hazmat is the more that's on the board, the harder that she can hit, and it's also notable that Ajax is an ongoing card, and so playing it down at this point in time and then following up with Hazmat will give Dexter a chance to really send Ajax's value to the sky.
We're going to send it to the next game here. We have Jeff versus Felix, and you can tell right away I'm looking like Felix might be a bot here. I'm not gonna call it out, but we got a Rhino on the board. That tells me all I need to know. And it's looking pretty good for Jeff to be securing this win for 12 million. 12 million bucks.
It's a good start for Jeff for sure. And I've not seen a meta Mr. Sinister Rhino deck in some time, so Felix might be, one of those AI bots you might be well aware of here and there. But Jeff's not going to complain; he's going to take those. But at the end of the day, though, hey, listen, I'm not the only one who's lost to a bot, so I mean, hey, anything can happen, I suppose.
So we come back here to the Dex and Pawnee game after we see Jeff scoop up double what he entered with. And again, this is going to be tricky, and it's kind of anybody's game here because Cassandra Nova, the only reason she wasn't really played early was we had that Juggernaut play with Asgard. Here goes the Ajax boosting up. We've got the Mobius. She plays Cassandra into Kitty, into Sage. And look at all that individual power getting Sage to at least be a 3-6.
Yeah, if you're Dexter here, do you think about retreating? He's got a handful of rocks. I mean, if you're Ben Bro, you snap here. I mean, that's a famous take there. And hey, listen, I've seen it. I've seen a handful of rocks snap be very successful. It's well documented. But I think Dexter might be in trouble. I think he's going to think about going hard right here.
I mean, this Cassandra's nearly worthless. I mean, because of the power that she's going to be able to drain. But I get the kind of route he's going. But it's going to be interesting because that Ajax is going to hyper boost up. But will it be enough to conquer an Angela copycat lane? We do know that Pawnee has a Darkhawk. We don't know what else she has in hand at the current moment. But Dexter's going for the old try to win all 3 locations at once approach.
I'm not sure what the ordering on his cards were, but he might even consider intentionally hitting his own cards with Hazmat based on the order of his play to make Ajax go higher. But he has to ensure he's winning at least 2 of those locations. The Iron Man's going to get hit very hard with Hazmat. It looks like he's going to do a good job of flipping this.
Massive play here as he pushes down a huge Hazmat, taking the middle and the left side and tying the right. But the middle is claimed back from Thena, but Dexter still, with that power difference, is going to claim the W.
Wow, that's 2 million bubs for Dexter here on a fantastic tiebreaker there. And I mean, I love those types of turn 6 and 7s where like it comes right down to the flip there. And I don't know, man. I'm just thinking that like I just love the fact that Dexter tried to flip a lane with Ajax. And for Pawnee, it's kind of hard because Ajax is still a relatively new card. The play patterns aren't that figured out. And so it can be hard to determine, you know, what's going to hit you on those final plays.
Now, we know this isn't a bot because everybody's playing Watu and Captain America Punisher decks. These are all over the place in Marvel Snap. It's good to see Regis streaming over here. One of the most creative deck builders. Love what he puts together, and he has secured himself a nice little 4 million bubs. And he just said it himself. He goes, I need to pay attention. He didn't want to make a classic error because, as you've said before, it is easy to lose to bots if you're not paying attention.
Yeah, it's very easy to throw to a bot here and there when you just kind of, you know, you're streaming in an event and you kind of lose track. And look at this, one of the GOATs.
The sky's toast. This is what I've been waiting for. I've been so excited. I actually talked to him at a TwitchCon 2 years ago, right before the release of Snap. We were talking Marvel Snap. He was playing a ton of beta. He loved the gameplay. It's cool to see someone as talented as Toast in card games come and play again. And what did I say? We've got a Airship ongoing deck, it's looking like here, but then there's Hawkeye. What do we got going on here?
That's actually hilarious. And I like the idea that Disguised Toast goes with Airship because, like, as a natural card gamer, Airship's going to give you a whole bunch of random stuff, and you got to think on your toes a little bit, right? And I do think he's going to be the one to be able to pilot a deck like this because, I mean, is that he included Uatu in his own deck, it looks like.
Yeah, like we got to click to see, we'd have to see it once he clicks on it. But what I can tell you is I am super curious to see where Toast ends up in the competition. Because the cool thing about this is, what does someone who doesn't play a lot with Airship, how well can they do, right, on a regular basis? White Widow, he's having to figure out quickly that that's a very good card. And all these things are happening at once. Disguised Toast's face says it all. He's just trying to understand it. And came up real bad on the RNG there.
It's kind of funny to see, like, how bad is it that he gets a White Widow into a Green Goblin expansion, has to read Phoenix Force, who's like one of the more complicated cards in the game. He's like, what is happening to me right now? Yeah, Weird World game, like, this poor guy, like, couldn't have been harder for him on his first game.
This is a absolute, and not like there's much at stake, only 5 million bubs so far. Like an absolute brutal welcome to Marvel Snap, or welcome back since beta, friend. We've missed you. Now, the Green Goblin, funny enough, I mean, it's a 1-point loss because it's helping him fill the cards there on the left side. But he's going to have to really come up with something to win here. Look at his face as he sees a Mockingbird play down.
It's kind of funny to think as well that, like, you also have Lizard on the left side too, which will drop down significantly in power. Then you have the Widow's Bite losing. So, like, just those 2 cards is a massive swing in and of itself, right? So he's definitely not out of it. But he has, I mean, Nightcrawler turn 5 solo card. This is what dreams are made of.
one thing he's going to learn, hopefully, throughout the competition here is just not to fill out a lane early, right? That's something I think people learn as they play Snap. So it gives you that agency to play in there later on because the opponent now knows middle lane, all they have to do is get that 9 power extra. Unless, of course, there was a way to boost it up via, something like a Spectrum. And so we've got the Nightcrawler going down. All he has is Airsham, a tough hand. Get out of here while you still can, but you also have a shot now with 3 1-cost cards in the middle, Alex.
Yeah, I'm really hoping here that Timothy does like one of the classic, like I'm going to throw Nakia mid plays. That's kind of what I'm hoping for Toast here. It looks like he's going to try to flip the right and hope that there is some sort of lack of power mid here. But I mean, it's impossible to know. They did go Punisher left. So, I mean, there's a bit of a cook happening here. These are one of these decks that you really have no idea what you're up against.
Well, and this is what's so brutal is that, Timothy has just awful cards being a bot, and they got access to all of Toast's cards via Weird World, right? So White Widow and Mobius and Mockingbird, you can tell. I'm actually impressed with the deck build put together here by Disguise. We can see some of these more powerful cards probably put into his deck. He does go the Khazar route. I think this is the way to go. Will Timothy, the ultimate bot, be able to beat him?
Yeah, it adds quite a bit of power mid as well. So you're adding 3 additional power there. So if Timothy goes for the epic play mid, maybe, just maybe, Disguise Toast is able to gap that. But it's also a risk because if he goes right, then Airsham would have been the stronger play. So let's actually see. It's the left play, the classic onslaught into Lizard gameplay. I mean, there's no way you could have predicted that.
He is feeling on top of the world, getting 12 million bubs off of an elite meta play for the bots going into another Chimichanga round. But let's go ahead and visit KM Best here. KM Best with an Ajax bounce deck, man. One thing I love about KM, I gotta say it is, he does experiment. He likes to play competitively, but he likes to put his own blend on the decks.
Yeah, we're wearing the aprons, but Cam's definitely a cook because he does come up with a lot of really interesting decks, synergies, and he's well known for that as well. And you know what? I'm glad to see some Werewolf by Night play, man. We've not seen Werewolf lately, even though he was a recently OTA'd card. So I know he's one of your favorite cards in the game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely fun to see him kind of back. And, right now, the struggle with Werewolf by Night is just board space, right? Board space. However, very interesting locations here. We have White Hot Room, which is almost a must grab, which you're seeing a bounce deck into that. This, to me, already gives KM Best a huge chance to win this game, and a massive chance. And we have Mount Vesuvius, which is a brutal location on Deadpool's Diner.
Yeah, Mount Vesuvius is probably one of the worst locations you can get in Deadpool's Diner, unless you're winning, of course. If you're absolutely ahead, then it's the best. It just keeps snapping for you. You snap as well, and all of a sudden you're walking away with millions of bubs. It's perfect, right? I do like Cam's play here. He wanted to fill White Hot Room, and even though he didn't maximize the bounces of the Werewolf by Night, he's able to set up a situation here where now he's got all these free plays on this next turn where Werewolf could then utilize the space available to get nice and chonky.
Now, I do want to remind people it is a 2-hour event. So right now, we've got a lot of matchups just building up the bubs, building up some currency. And we're going to see some massive matchups towards the more the event goes on, right? And why that's awesome is it's about current bubs, not lifetime. Current. And so we're going to see these creators hopefully go head-to-head and put 50 million bubs on the line. We're going to have to see once we get towards that, as these guys are starting, and girls are starting to build up their pot a bit more of bubs.
Yeah, it completely changes the way this tournament's played because, like, before, like, if it's just the cumulative bubs, then you can go like really hard, buy back in, go really hard, buy back, whatever it is, right? But because it's your current bubs, as you get higher and higher and higher, it's so much riskier. The stakes get so much higher, especially when there's variance on the line. And so at the end of the day, I do like this tournament setup here because it creates a lot of pressure and tension, especially in this high stakes mode.
One of the things I love about Werewolf Night, you're seeing it here, is essentially you have to know what you're doing with the deck. Even though it's a good card, you have to know where to play, where the wolf is going to bounce to, and it's a tricky deck to play. All combined with what Game just said best, I have no clue. As he gets, wow, this is crazy. I mean, he gets pinned, but with the new Professor X that we've seen via OTA's balance patches, we can have that werewolf bounce out of Pro X, and we have that space. But, Alex, as you know, it's going to be tough for him to get back into Hala.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult because he doesn't really have a way to get in there. And so like, and the thing about Bounce, especially with Werewolf, he needs the space, right? He needs the space. So this is a very difficult situation here. It's notable that in the Mount Vesuvius, right, the opponent's going to be able to kind of negate that -4 while also propping up that Angela. However, I don't think KM has a manner to get into that left location. And with Werewolf, he's not going to be able to bounce enough to really get value. And unfortunately, he could Hazmat Beast and then Hazmat again and drop that to a -1 on the left. That's probably his only play.
Yeah, and just it's unfortunate it's the last turn of the game here because the Viper could have been used to at least clog up some space. He's got that classic, I've ran into this, where you got all that energy, but you're out of that space to move with, right? And it's hard to predict the Professor X and a Hawkeye over there. I don't think he was probably expecting much of that, but we are seeing Cassandra do what she does best. Absolute insane 3-cost card. 3-5 right now, going to go even higher.
I love the call and the fact that it's the final turn. You basically just brought me back in time to the times where I'm like, oh, look at this. I can do this and this combo play. Then it's like, oh, wait, the game's over? Damn it. Where was Magic? Where was Magic when I thought she existed, right?
Right. But, I can't tell you enough how many times, you get so caught up in one play, you forget where you're at. And they can't retreat because they're Mount Vesuvius.
Yeah, no kidding. And I mean, Cassandra's going to be pretty chunky here. And Cassandra in a bounce deck would absolutely crush so many lists. Oh, man, we'll have to see what happens in a bounce-based list against Arishem. She could easily get to like 30, 40 power.
Keep an eye on the left side of the screen here. We see Dara right now in first with 44 million bubs. Nina at 40 in second. And here's that final play line. Can he score himself the victory? Yes. Yes, he can. So we got Dexter. We have Chris. It's interesting to be able to see this live leaderboard update here in Disguised in fourth.
That's right. And Regis is close behind as well. I mean, it was pretty crazy to see Cam close out that victory just by 1 point on a Hazmat play. Doesn't get much tighter than that as it takes us over to Pawnee. Pawnee here is playing against Khalil, and we'll have to see. This is a very early Dark Hawk, but of course, it's Scar.
We'll see how it gets.
Alrighty, so we've got ourselves Rogue, Fastos, Mockingbird, Shang-Chi, and Korg. And these early games, I see it, I get it. We got some bot play. We're building up some bubs to build up into a more climatic end of event here. So Korg coming down with that early Darkhawk, man, is always feeling pretty good. At this point, are you doing this Stark Tower play, just building up for the +2 power?
Yeah, I think so. I totally agree with this Fastos play, but I would say that Darkhawk coming out from Sakaar, it represents such a risk because I think that even an Arishem player is teching so aggressively against Darkhawk. Everyone's adding Shangers back to decks. This is a meta where Rogue is all over the place. I mean, look at Pawnee's deck. It has a Rogue in it, right? So I feel like Darkhawk is so vulnerable in these situations. However, hey, it's a free play on turn 1, and you don't have to pay the 5 energy. Now you can just kind of prop it up with the Korg and everything else.
I just can't help but notice that we just saw Nina is noob jump up to first place, 60 million bubs, followed by Dara, Toast, Jeff, KM, Regis, and Atrix. So pretty tight, but look at Nina at a huge 60 million, and that's, well, she's going risky, right? But it's paying off.
Yeah, so that's the thing about this game mode, right? Deadpool's Diner, it's all about mitigating and taking advantage of risk. So like with Nina, that's one massive win, but here's the thing. If Jeff just jumped to number 1 for that exact same reason, if you just gamble on your bubs and you cleanly win, and then you can go up. But here's the thing. If you miss or you whiff on that turn 6 or 7, you find yourself crashing back down. And so this is going to be like a fight to the wire.
I'm interested because I thought we would see this. I thought we'd see a lot of Darkhawk. I thought we'd see a lot of Iron Man. I am surprised by the amount of Ajax we're seeing. To be honest, I'm a bit shocked. We've seen a couple decks now with Ajax in there. Couple bounce builds as well. You typically see the bounce come out more in tournaments and more in competitive kind of style of play that we've seen in the past, because it's that big brain deck, right, Alex? And we take that big brain to the big brain himself, Disguised Toast here, playing Chorizo Joe.
Yeah, and it's so funny to see, like, he's got a big smile on his face. He's having an absolute blast here. And that's a Cassandra Nova coming down here, absolutely soul crushing at 19 power.
And this is actually Disguised Toast versus KM Best. For those that don't know, Chorizo Joe is KM Best. We have creator versus creator. Can a man who's been playing since the beta defeat a man that is back playing for the first time, I would guess, in a little bit? And look at this absolute hand for Toast here. He's got Mockingbird, Blob, Black Bull, and Thing. Very interesting play lines all together. And this is a crazy matchup here.
And this is what makes Cassandra Nova so punishing. Blob can, mitigate the effect of Darkhawk, but it's not going to do anything that Cassandra Nova. Cassandra's Nova's damage has already been done, and Blob's going to eat more cards now. It's going to get less power, and it's not going to impact Cassandra Nova at all. And here's the bounce from Werewolf, and we got a little more space, and it looks
Love
like
the Black Bolt. Love the Black Bolt with KM's deck because that hazmat play right there.
Yeah, right there. That was huge.
Huge discard, right? So now we're on turn 6 or 5, I believe. And this is where I would probably go with the safe Blob play. Mockingbird's down to 2 after that. And then most likely, I think Blob was from there. Ajax in hand with Hood, but hazmat is gone. Toes has every chance here to secure a W.
What's interesting as well is you have Blob and you also have New York. And remember, Blob's ongoing ability has been removed, which will allow him to move Blob to New York in order to dodge like a Shang-Chi play or a Shadow King, which I don't remember if our boy Cam Best has in his deck. I don't think he did. However, it's worth noting here that it is still a viable play to move Blob at this point in time.
I think this is a no-brainer Blob play. You don't know what your opponent has, so you might want to not give them priority. He's retreating. He's being safe, and I think that he had himself a phenomenal chance to win this. Sometimes looking at how many cards are left in your opponent's hand is vital, because you can see that Werewolf by Night wouldn't have that much power to get gained with only a couple cards.
It can be very difficult to make that read, though. Like, he hit the hazmat with his Black Bolt. He might not have realized how impactful that was in that given game circumstance.
Snap is very much a game of learning by your mistakes, right? And the more you play, the more you learn those mistakes and don't make them again. I know that's how I became from bad to pretty bad player myself. Hopeful Pizza, I believe, is Fan here, and Fan a new player to Snap.
Yeah,
she's admitted it herself.
Yeah, so very, very new to Marvel Snap, which is great. I love to see new players entering the game, and you know what? They bring different types of decks. They have unique, different strategies, right? They're not jaded by the meta. They get to come in here with fresh ideas, and it's always fun to watch.
I'm listening in here because I love hearing the commentary of like, what does this location do? It brings me back to the early days, and then you're like, and by the way, Weird World, Dream Dimension, Vibranium Mines, another brutal location set for a new player.
Yeah, absolutely brutal. But sword mastering a Darkhawk in a Vibranium Mines game, I think Stella, might be, let's just say, making some strange plays.
Yeah, so here we go. We've got Nocturne, Hope Summer right side. You can see right away, though, she is playing these cards that can move and things like Kitty Pryde into Hope Summers. I'm just saying, for someone who hasn't played Snap, she's already got a strategy down a little bit here, right, Alex? I love it.
Yeah, you're seeing some effective use of Thena, which I think is really important here. The cards in her hand are not particularly effective, although near the end of the game, the Vibranium themselves, I mean, it's better than Wolverine or Colossus, right? And it's unfortunate that you have what might be a bot into Weird World, which is really going to impact her ability to get some notable cards. I'm just waiting for that turn 6 Nakia, which unfortunately she hadn't drawn.
You mean to tell me Wolverine Colossus? These two aren't just meta shakers here for the last turn of the game. Very tough playing cards that don't do much. We do have a Nocturne play that she can move. With the bot, there are ways to easily kind of trick them into a victory. We've got an Angel. I forgot he was in the game.
Yeah, Angel exists. That's right. But I mean, with bots, right, it can be a little challenging at times because as you move up onto the different echelons of the Deadpool's Diner, I've been surprised by a couple. You get those bots that throw down the Jubilee into Magneto, drag everything, win by 1 point. You're questioning your entire life. I've lived those moments.
Alex, I've got to say, can we take a look at the left side of the screen, the leaderboard? Dara has almost collectively the combined bubs of most of the players here. Nina at 122 behind 85 and Jeff. This is how fast this game mode can snowball. Don't be discouraged for small bubs amounts because you can wager double quicker and faster. And I'm curious where Dara was able to snab 170 million bubs.
Yeah, it's crazy. And that's the thing, though. You can turn 170 million bubs into nearly 500,000 bubs and 500,000 bubs into 1 billion bubs. It turns big so fast. Once you get that snowball rolling and you start really taking advantage of advantageous positions, you're able to just corral those bubs into even larger numbers.
Yep, Fan got the W. Let's just take a moment and say, wow, congratulations by the 1 point W. She's feeling the excitement, feeling the ecstatic nature of it. And look at that. She's absolutely floored, I think, herself. I've won plenty of games like that. I can't believe I won.
I'm not even sure what bubble tea is. That's like a drink that people really enjoy, right? Is that like a movie theater type thing?
really enjoy. I think plenty of people enjoy it. It is an acquired palette, if you will. And talking about just an amazing thing to look at here is the hat on Nina is Noob, who is currently in second place, playing for big time Bubs. We've got ourselves another Kitty Pride. We're seeing a lot of these, Alex.
Yeah, we're also seeing a lot of Colossus avatars. But my main question is Nina wearing... Is that Jeff?
That is Jeff. That would be Jeff, the baby land shark. You know what I love about Marvel Snap, and I'm starting to see in the Marvel world more and more, Alex, is that these characters that, let's be honest, some people just didn't know existed. You know the Iron Man, you know the Captain America, but Jeff, no one knew. And now these characters are really starting to blow up in popularity.
I mean, how can you not love Jeff? I mean, literally, I didn't care when Jeff was first released. It could have been the worst card in the game. I was getting it. I was getting all the splits. I was getting all the variants. Look how damn cute he is.
I've got a question for you, Alex. I got a question for you and the chat. If you could attend a party hosted by Tony Stark or a feast in Asgard, which one are you picking?
I'm going to go to the feast in Asgard.
No, dude, the parties, though, by Iron Man, they have to be just legend. I mean, that's a once-in-a-lifetime.
Wait, you're telling me a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity wouldn't be going to see Lady Sif, just kind of eating a giant turkey leg, something like that? I think that'd be pretty savage. I think it'd be pretty awesome.
Fair enough. And just to see Thor himself, I mean, come on, the muscles. All right, we got turn 6 here, and it's looking like the all-in play on the left is not going to be advantageous over here for yet another Colossus avatar. It's the Colossus avatar, to me, that gives it away, Alex, right? No one is probably going to pick that for their representation.
Oh, you don't love it? I would infinity border that avatar.
I want receipts. I want to see it. I want to see it after this. But you know what I do love is they're still being very careful because, again, you can lose to these bots. They are not always the easiest to beat. We do have the Shang-Chi in the middle that's going to seal this game quite easily. The Lizard going down as well. The onslaught on the Hulk, the classic power meta move. I need to make more videos on that. That's a move and a half. Let me tell you. Why have we not made videos on that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a combo that I guess is being slept on. The classic onslaught Hulk there. Even if he's evolved, it doesn't do anything. But I'm gonna say there's like a strategy to maybe changing your name to like Bob, putting on the Shang-Chi avatar, playing like a bot for a couple turns, and then slamming Galactus into a location or something. I think there's something there.
Not a lot of Bob names out there. 122 million Bubs gained by Nina is Noob. Insanity. Of course, we just said Jeff, the baby land shark. It is her favorite card. She absolutely loves the anime Storm. Loves corn, could eat it all day. Nina, I just learned something new about you. I love street corn's pretty good. I love me some street corn, I'll be honest. And then every day forever, but only good corn. Oh, there's more to it, but not sweet corn. Nina, thank you for the corn lesson. Very much appreciated of it. You should have it in the backdrop there.
You know what? I like corn too. I didn't know street corn's a thing. Is that like a street meat type thing? Like you go to a street vendor, they have corn, they butter it up for you, and they just like slam it in your mouth?
I'm getting hungry now, man. I'm getting hungry. We got to move on. But so you get a little bit of mayo in there, surprisingly enough. But moving on, we got Regis here, who is having riveting static the gameplay. Okay, we have Scarlet Witch going down against Elite Goldfish. Elite Goldfish here playing a Loki gamer, and this is Disguised Toast, who is Elite Goldfish. I can tell just from the Loki in the hand. Toast versus Regis, and Regis claimed the victory for 20 million Bubs. I wonder how Toast is feeling right now. I wonder what the reaction on Toast's face right now as a brutal awakening of welcome back to Snap a little bit. And these are close games. These are not that, these are not that big disparity between the points here.
Yeah, I mean, it's for Toast, it's kind of hard to navigate a game with two Altars of Death as well. That's kind of tricky. Oh, they've got the turn 1 Electra. You don't see that very often. It's worth noting that Dara, currently in second place to Nina is Noob, third being Jeff Hoagland, as we kind of do a quick update there to the leaderboard. And Dara's going with the turn 3. This is actually a turn 2. Turn 2, Cassandra Nova.
Utopia being one of those locations to give you some energy cheating. Couldn't be better for a card like Cassandra Nova, by the way. Absolutely insane. No animation there, even though there is a really good animation for Cassandra. Tarnix 4, one of my personal favorite locations. I've got to say it. I absolutely love the random chaos. Mysterio being a perfect card to play both in the bar with No Name and Tarnix.
Yeah, for me, I mean, Tarnix, I don't know. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of it. I know that you are a massive lover of it, but I mean, you can't go wrong with Mysterio. This is literally the perfect card for this location set. Like, there's no question about it. So hopefully Dara is able to, create some magic here. And it's worth noting, though, that the opponent does have Angela in that location. It's unlikely they're going to want to feed too much.
here's the flip for the random upgrading cost. We're going to be going to, or not upgrade, it's same cost. So the 2 goes into, hold on here, an invisible woman. My gosh, that's going to create some pandemonium.
It'd be interesting to think, like, Invisible Woman, what would you play there? What would you play there? I mean, you could think about Mockingbird, but like, no, I don't think you'd play Mockingbird there. That 310 is way too valuable. It's so tricky, so unbelievably tricky here. And even Juggernaut is a game winner, because if you Juggernaut something in a bar with no name, it's an easy dub.
Yeah, I do like the Mockingbird in the middle here play, and then I'd probably go with the Juggernaut in the middle, and then just start slamming cards, man, right side behind that Invisible Woman at that point. If you can get a card safely over there to bar with no name, you're feeling pretty good. But it is his last location. He's at 22 power with that hidden Mysterio. You think he's going to go with just the Jugger in the middle and the Angela? Is he going to Angela right side? He's thinking here.
Yeah, what I think you do is you play Angela Athena into the right side here. Turn 6, you're going to go Juggernaut, and you're because they're going to fill probably right, I'm sure, because they're feeling like they can only play 2 locations. They're going to know that Mysterio is going to be the clone into the bar with no name. They're not going to be anticipating the Juggernaut, and this is an amazing opportunity for Dara to steal these bubs. Right? And this is where this mode is just remarkable, because what you get is this opportunity to catch a player by surprise with something like a Juggernaut, which there's no way they're accounting for, and absolutely tear those bubs from their hands.
It is looking like Dara's putting a lot of thought into this. He's putting a lot of thought, and we've got a Hulkbuster going to merge. This is actually going to be interesting, because this is not, in fact, going to probably change this card, right? Or will it? It does, actually. My bad. To a Nightcrawler. Building up the Angela. Kind of an elite strategy there from a bot. You love to see it. And opposed to the Juggernaut, he's going to go with an Iron Man instead.
This is interesting. I think that if they had not played a card like Hulkbuster, which merges that lane, like if Tarnax was blocked off, then the Juggernaut play is an absolute win, right? It's an absolute straightforward win. I can see the Iron Man play here. I can see why he's going for it. It is a massive difference in power, and I'm sure he's trying to just kind of outpace them for the tiebreaker. That's not to suggest that our opponent here does not have some sort of location switch for bar with no name.
Now, it's a good example that this game's here. Sometimes when there's something like a Sanctum Sanctorum and you can't play into there, it's just how big can you get your location, just beat out the power difference of the one other location that they have. Clearly here, we're going to see probably Dara be fine here. And wow, what a top roll of a 2 going from an Angela to a Maximus. Dara getting 200 million bubs. Alex, I gotta tell you, there's been some really good matches so far already. We've seen a little bit from just about everybody. It's been nice to see this guy's toast and all the learning lessons that he's gone through. We've obviously seen some stuff here from Dara, from Dexter, from Nina, from Pon. Anything surprising you so far before we look at the leaderboard here?
What really surprised me was that last Dara play. Had he played Juggernaut, he would have lost. He would have knocked over a -1 Iron Man. But at the end of the day, what's really surprising me is the variations of decks we're seeing. We're seeing a ton of different archetypes, a ton of different decks. Ajax, one of the new cards in Marvel Snap. We're seeing some Arishem. We're seeing literally everything, and every single match has been high stakes. We're seeing the bobs start to accumulate. We're seeing the numbers get bigger, Cozy. It's going to come down to the finish, I'm sure.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the leaderboard. Let's go and see the current positions of current bubs. Now, guys, this is going to change. This is going to change very quickly, because keep in mind, you can really snowball or lose a snowball of the bubs that you have. Dara's in first place with that last win we just saw, 547 million, followed by Jeff and Nina. So a lot of different ups and downs there. My personal vote, my co-host from Last Conquerors, the Dexter, is in fourth place. We have Atrix, Kane Best, Regis. Anything surprise you here?
So far, I mean, it's how fast the things are changing. We just saw Jeff get kind of jumped by Nina there. We're seeing a lot of movement here. Disguised Toast doing a pretty good job for someone who's, just coming back into Marvel Snap. Dan's gaming, you can never count him out. And at the end of the day, really hoping to see how these bobs can start to accumulate, because listen, the numbers are just going to get bigger. But even if someone's number 1, if they bet a match with 300 million bubs and they lose, they drop all the way to the bottom. It's that risk mitigation, which is a massive skill for this game.
Plenty of time left in the competition, and I'm curious to see if anyone can kind of climb their way out. Now, Alex, if you don't know, alliances are coming to the game next Tuesday, I believe the 30th of July. You can finally pair up with your favorite Snap players, and I'm pumped because I can finally see what you're playing with, what avatars you got, what you got going on, man. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for those social elements. I think that the social side of Marvel Snap it's one of the underrated things. It's really fun to engage with the communities, and of course, build an alliance, get rewards, communicate with friends, and even chat. Can you imagine that chat? Imagine it was just like a whole bunch of emotes and everyone was just, Miss Marveling each other nonstop. That would have been
I'm sure.
something.
I'm sure that's what it'll look like here. But overall, guys, we're going to be jumping into our next match. It's good to see you for a second, but let's get back to the action. We don't want to miss anything here, and we're going to be starting off with Atrix here as he's going against I Like Bubs, who is Nina is noob, but you can see that there was a retreat. So we did get a creative recreator, but sadly, the retreat happened to protect the Bubs here. And so we're going to be jumping over to a new set of games as we've got ourselves Sacriel versus what would you guess here? What kind of deck would that Domino play?
Okay, listen. This Domino gamer playing Colossus, Mr. Fantastic. We haven't seen Nakia yet. I'm still waiting for it. But if I would bet that turn 6 would have been a Spectrum, but instead we got the Squirrel Girl turn 6 into a Heimdall. There's a lot of cooking happening right now, but that Human Torch is going to get absolutely massive. A very clean win by Sacriel.
That classic Ironheart avatar. We've all seen it. I'm telling you right now, guys. Tips: name yourself that name and put an Ironheart avatar. You'll blend right in. Throw that Bucky Barnes on turn 6. You're gonna be looking great here. Well, there we go. We got some Bubs. 1.6 over for him, and we're gonna continue to check out some other hot matchups here as we head into our next game. Keeping things on the fly. We have Dan's Gaming, and I love it because Dan's is a variety streamer, but he does play Marvel Snap. Absolutely. And when we asked him some of his favorite questions, like what does he enjoy, his favorite variant, She-Hulk Art Germ was the top of that list here. And I love seeing how people articulate the game. We've got ourselves a what looks to be a Dark Hawk deck. But look at this. Look at the facts we have on him. Love to see it. Favorite card of the game, Shang-Chi, Alex.
That is surprising. I mean, a lot of people, to pick Shang-Chi as your favorite card, that's a wild take. But you know what? I believe it. If you like winning games of Marvel Snap, there's no question that Shang-Chi is a great avenue for that. So it's cool to see Dan's Gaming clearly likes winning and likes good cards.
What's awesome is, if you guys don't know, Dan has a global emote after himself, which just speaks to the legendary iconicness of him as a creator, man. Talk about goals. Talk about goals. I want to be doing a meme face and get an emote one day. That'd be pretty cool. We got Black Widow going with a Nocturne Silk deck. I actually really like what he has picked here to run into the Conquerors competition.
Yeah, and you're seeing that newly buffed Miles Morales making its way into a few decks here and there, which honestly you love to see. Miles Morales is a 1/6 on movement. It's just an incredible value. You can sneak it into so many different plays here, and we'll have to see how he's able to kind of corral that here. Playing Black Bolt on this turn is naturally going to make Miles Morales kind of pop back up in cost. However, it's going to discount stature. So I guess he's going to give himself an opportunity to kind of take a next read on the play. But he has a Silk there. So Silk's going to move, and it's going to kind of reactivate that discount on Miles Morales.
I'm calling it now. We're getting all the practice in right now. You know what? This is good for the newer players of Snap, the ones that haven't played a lot, right? They're getting in the practice matches, right? The skirmishes against the bots. And then we're going to be going all out for the creator matchups here. Asteroid Imp probably on the top of my least location favorite list because, it's just so awkward. You got to fill it out early. There's a lot of big time swinging turn 3 and 4 cards, or cost 3 and 4 cards. That can make things awkward.
Yeah, I love this play from Dan's Gaming as well. Definitely take out that Claw. That's 8 power kind of coming off of the right there. It looks like what they're going to do is send that Silk either to the mid or the left. Could win either one, but this Enchantress is going to be detrimental to the game strategy here of our Colossus Avatar Gamer. And it is going to be a Silk mid, but it has a chance to go left or right here. We'll have to see where it goes. It goes left to technically challenge 3 different locations. White Queen's not going to do it on the right. Comes mid, wins that location, and it is the turn 6 Watu bounce, and it's unfortunate that an absolute scam on the Watu play there to knock the Silk out of the winning position. That is so heartbreaking.
Oh my gosh, I am making a video right now with Watu on the thumbnail, and I love this, by the way, upgrading as he goes. The variants, it's all about the variants and Snap here. Absolute brutal way to lose. The want to play. That is a clippable moment. I can tell you that. Look at this deck we got going on here.
Yeah, like I'm not sure because like is this like a move bounce based deck?
It's looking like it. I would love to say. I think it is. Little movers is what I think this is, right? That deck where you have a lot of small movement cards that you can build up a ton. The dagger, the human torch. I think this deck's not played enough. It's kind of tough on the IQ level, right? There's a lot of listen. I'm not smart enough to play the deck. I'll be saying it here first. You gotta really be super calculated with the moves you make. And with Vulture getting that OTA a while ago that people kind of forgot about, this is definitely a silent killer in the meta.
Yeah, no kidding. And I mean, it's kind of unfortunate he starts off with 2 procs against opposing Guardians of the Galaxy players, right? It's like, it's pretty heartbreaking. I like this idea with perhaps making some magic happen with Grandmaster. I'm a Grandmaster enjoyer. But this is a complicated, tricky play. And anytime you have move cards kind of pinned to the left, it can make the strategy a little difficult to execute on. So we'll have to see how it plays out here.
Well, look at the fill here to get more of these small cards. That's one way to not even have to bounce him, right? And he moves. It reactivates the Doctor Strange that moves everything in the middle. That's actually disastrous, right? Because he was hoping just one of those cards, the Iron Fist, the Ghost Spider, would have been moved. But instead, every 2 power card, Alex, got moved. This is why I love the game, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, this is a very difficult thing to do because, unfortunately, it looks like I don't know if he can win left. Even if he pulls something like a Heimdall, this is where like you get a headache trying to play move here and there. I like the idea of picking up the Human Torch. It's going to be free in hand. If you top deck something like a Heimdall, he can make some magic happen. But he is going to be pushing some kind of lower quality cards into that left position that won't be enough to actually make the difference for the dub, right?
This is like bringing your calculus homework to a 3rd grade math class. You're going against the bot here, it seems like, right? Potentially, it may not be. I'm not sure. But what I can tell you is you've got this big brain deck against potentially a turn 6 Bucky Barnes, right? So, I mean, you could shoot yourself in the foot a little bit with things like these small movement decks. As we're at turn 5, what do you like here? Do you like maybe just the Vulture into a Ghost Spider? He can't use Iron Fist pretty much at all.
Am I allowed to say that I don't like any of it? Like, this looks like a very difficult position to be in as a move player. Like, I don't even know what you do. Like, this might be one of those things where you walk away with a, just give up your 1 million bubs. If he can come up with a winning line here, like, it's possible. It's very possible that he can overtrade the right side. But I feel like his opponent would have to likely misplay pretty aggressively, right? It is a big house mid, so it kind of puts a cap on how much power they can output there. But still, it is a very challenging position. I would say Ghost Spider Vulture is probably a good play at some point.
Well, Grandmaster, Heimdall, Iron Fist, all of these cards need the middle location, right? It's why that move wasn't played for so long, because Professor X right in the middle, game over. That's it, right? Not a lot you could do. And we're kind of seeing something similar to this right now as well. 20 power. This, I'm telling you, this is calculus to a 3rd, 2nd graders math class here. As you have this Human Torch go up to an 8, flamed on, and the Vulture being played here. Wow. And it doesn't make it much better. It doesn't make it, I mean, the best bet he has is just to do like a Heimdall right. That's what I was thinking too. And that gives him, he loses left lane, but he's just going to hope that middle is won.
Yeah, he's probably going to overcommit onto the middle, though. That's the challenge here. You're going to have Vulture and Human Torch get absolutely massive. The question is, can he gap whatever they play right? And it can't be an Orca because it's Isle of Silence, but something even as simple as a Red Hulk that hasn't activated yet will win. Vanilla Hulk. There's so many ways for Heimdall to lose a solo one-on-one.
So if you look at the leaderboard, we actually have Dara taken over by Jeff, who is now in 1st place. So just like that, we are seeing that movement we talked about before here. And Toast was towards the bottom of the leaderboard, but he has made himself back up to 7th. Look at Toast with Dexter in 4th and KM. And look how close KM, Dexter, Nina, and Dara kind of all are.
Wow. Yeah, it's getting tight. And for Sacriel coming out with the win, that looked like so improbable, but he gets the 4 million bubs to help him progress on the ladder here. Man, that was actually a tight play. I was not expecting Heimdall to actually outtrade their turn 6 play.
These players are going to have to keep an eye on the leaderboard because you're going to have to kind of see, you're going to have to start risking more bubs the later in the competition. You can't be winning 2 million bubs when there's 400 million in 1st, right? So I want to see if we see that strategy be played in here. We have an Onslaught Citadel Cloning Vats game, and Cloning Vats is such a fun location, Alex, but it can be tough to decide which cards to go in there sometimes.
Yeah, no, there's no kidding, right? Like, there's some cards that obviously really benefit from it, you know, like the Venoms and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you fill your hand very aggressively. You fill the locations very aggressively. And it becomes like, okay, how do you mitigate the amount of damage you're doing? Oh, like, here's a great call, right? Rocket Raccoon's a great example of that, because with Rocket Raccoon, any buff that it gets is actually replicated into its hand, so he can keep feeding on it there. And unfortunately, Jeff does whiff on it. His opponent does dodge with the Star Lord left.
Oh, look at that. Wow, that rock play is quite the bold move. Maybe they'll trigger the ongoing ability of a rock to do nothing by double with the onslaught at the end there. There's some cards that definitely benefit off cloning vats. Glad you brought that up way more. Classic favorites, Venom. Sage of Recent is a menace in cloning vats.
Yeah, absolutely. And even cards like Wolfsbane. Wolfsbane would maintain its power and then use other Wolfsbanes in cloning vats to actually proc even higher, right? Wolfsbane's a card that actually I've been playing a lot more frequently lately, so I'm glad it's starting to make a bit of a comeback here and there with the Ravonna shells.
Want to point this out real quick. Really cool play by Jeff. Now, it is going to be a bit interesting on how the triggering works here, but being able to clog with Titania is one of those big brain plays that is not easy to work out yourself. Titania is a very risk-reward card, obviously giving it to your opponent here. And as you see, in the order of what she played, the opponent's not playing into the middle to benefit that rocket. We have the Kitty to the Titania. Now, this is where all these interactions come together, right? Watch how interesting this is going to be as he picks up all of these cards. However, that Titania will also be picked up and not go to the other side.
It ends up being pretty good for him because that vision, right? That vision prevents Jeff from taking advantage of that Titania proper. This is going into the final turn here. These bishops are carrying. However, none of these cards are discounted to 0 because of Beast, but they're all cheap enough that he can pretty much play down everything with the exception of the Beast and the Nocturne. These bishops are going to run up. He doesn't have an ongoing to take advantage of Onslaught Citadel, but it doesn't appear as though the opponent does either.
Groot would be smiling somewhere as there's 3 Rocket Raccoons. I mean, I am Groot is being screamed from a rooftop somewhere out there in space. 3 rockets, guaranteed to probably trigger a couple of them. And people have forgotten, Rocket now can boost up by 4, which is insane for a 1-cost card. We've got the Bishop carrying forward. You know, I feel like Falcon just doesn't get as much play as he should, especially when you can abuse things like Korg in a Dark Hawk deck.
Yeah, we saw a lot of experimentation with Falcon when Black Swan originally came out. The idea of playing Falcon to pick up, 1-drops, play the Black Swan. Like, there was a lot of interesting play patterns there. But at the end of the day, I do like Falcon a lot. He was a mainstay in, like, the absolute top tier of Werewolf by Night in his heyday. We'll have to see here if Jeff's able to gap the final turn here. He set up great power left and right. Or sorry, center and left. We'll have to see what it does. It's just a casual Odin, so it looks like Fantastic. Jeff is going to win 100 million bubs.
Riveting. Alex, while we saw that Odin in the middle play, it reminded me of drops going on right now. Can you tell people more about the drops going on? And just by watching the game, they'll be able to be collecting some stuff in Marvel Snap?
That's right. We have rewards available to people who have linked their Marvel Snap accounts with their Twitch accounts. From now, July 26th to August 4th, you're able to kind of earn some free drops. And so all you got to do is watch your favorite streamers this stream, might I add, and you'll have an opportunity to unlock rewards as you watch.
Alrighty, so we have a Destroy deck, and more specifically, Phoenix Force, which, Alex, I recall you're not the craziest fan of Phoenix Force. I think it's definitely a deck that takes some mastering.
Well, yeah, it's not that, like, I don't like Phoenix Force. I think Phoenix Force is actually really cool, and I'm glad it's starting to make a bit of a comeback here and there. It has these flashes where it becomes really popular. It just feels to me like when I play it, I'm like, oh, look, I either absolutely win, I'm going to smash them by 1,000,000 points, or I definitely lose and I don't stand a chance. It's very much on either spectrum. There's no middle ground with Phoenix Force, it feels like at times. So that's kind of one of the things with it. It feels like Mr. Negative to some degree. Did I draw negative or did I not draw negative? Do I win or do I not win? And that's kind of how it feels. But I do think that Phoenix Force is one of the highest skill cap cards in the game. And maybe it's something I need to kind of dive deeper into, to be honest with you.
Yes, I would say what I'm focusing on is the top 4 spots right now. Look at this, 675 million in first, second, third, and fourth, all neck and neck. And yeah, what I love to see is we've got the Snap streamers there. We've got Dara, Jeff, Dexter, and Nina is noob, who does not get enough credit. Nina is a phenomenal player of card games in general, has a big, large background in that area, and it's showing today. She is 15 million off, which is nothing in the current leaderboard. Look how tight this is at the top.
Yeah, I remember playing against Nina in a tournament, and this was in New York City, and such a incredibly talented player. And I remember I lost. I lost via a arrow play, OG arrow, if you can remember, Cozy, swinging my entire play on turn 6 into a corner, losing position. And I mean, I don't know about you, Cozy. I'm glad that that arrow doesn't exist anymore, but it goes to show you just how innovative that Nina can be in the most pressure kind of cooked situations.
How dare you? How dare you? I miss the arrow of old. One of the lowest played cards right now in the last 30 days. So we've got ourselves a Deathlock by itself. I do love Dark Dimension, one of my favorite locations in some cases, because you can have some real surprise factors, especially with on reveals, right? It's like that free invisible woman, if you will. But Atrixo did retreat. Vivinte is what he's queuing up, the Living Tribunal deck, as we head to our next matchup here, and we have ourselves a Loki player. Das Medi is the player himself. No cam, but we do have gameplay here, as we've got a Loki deck with Iron Man ready to go.
Yeah, you definitely have to play Loki here. I think Loki with this big hand would be just so perfect. I mean, I understand like the desire to put points on the board, but when you got all these cards, man, oh, it's so great to just Loki. Take whatever they got, play it for yourself, right? One of my favorite things about Loki, by the way, and I hope we see these on future cards as well, I just want to give a shout out to the dev team. I love that Loki's border effects get applied to the cards it generates. That is such a beautiful touch. I think it's underappreciated, honestly, because it makes your Loki split just that much more beautiful.
Which is why I play Agent Coulson all the time. And all the shout-outs to the Agent Coulson lovers in the chat, is you get the same thing. You get the borders the same, and I do love seeing that. And that's why I put all my best borders on him. Mindscape, one of the most tricky locations to think about, because most decks are built, Alex, obviously about turn 6 and like what you're trying to do there and the combos you're trying to pull off, and now you have to be this weird played out on 5 and hope your opponent doesn't get your good cards like a Shang-Chi.
Yeah, actually, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was so fixated on discussing my border obsession. I had not even noticed Mindscape was on the board. Loki on the last turn would have been disastrous. He would have given away all these phenomenally discounted cards. Now, he does have an option. He could use the Snowguard Hawk to actually turn off the Mindscape and perhaps preserve Magneto, because it's worth noting here, if you play down that little rock, play down the Snowguard Bear, that Mockingbird's going to discount itself pretty aggressively, right? It looks like it's going with the Bear over the Hawk.
I mean, there's a lot of different cards that he could decide to do here. Obviously, Loki being the one that he desperately doesn't want to do, but at least Hawk does, turn it off, and then you can not have to worry about it and play your better cards. He would rather not even deal with it.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? How about I just leave? How about I... And you know what? I like that. Sometimes when you get locations that suck, in your opinion, get out of there. Just go and queue into another game, as we queue into another game with Chris ready to go here with a Red Hulk. Wow, this is quite the deck.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting here. I do like the Athena Kitty package. It's been one of those absolute tried, tested, and true packages in Marvel Snap for the longest time. Athena's been legitimately one of the best cards in the game for a while. You just love to see. Oh no, it's Strong Guy hitting Quantum Realm on that Scarlet Witch. Now, it is an ongoing card, so ongoing cards tend to prefer that Quantum Realm, because they're able to kind of outpace anything that's played into that location. However, I mean, with Zabu in hand, turn 6, I don't know if you ever tried, like, I'm not sure what his deck is here. I don't know if it's like, if he has like a Shang-Chi, if he's even considering this Zabu, but he does have a 19 Hulk, which is a definite game winner.
Now, listen, Chris plays games that are kind of similar to the vein of Fork and a Knife, if you are picking up my drift. And so it's cool to see a card gamer come out of that game, or someone who plays that game a lot, right? Yes, you don't see the Zabu build a lot. And I gotta say, the thing I do love about this event structure is the fact that it is that current Bubs. And we're gonna see, this is almost guaranteed to be neck and neck as that time continues to tick down, and we're getting close to the halfway mark.
Yeah, actually, I mean, like, listen, every single match, especially as we get towards this halfway mark, is going to be incredibly important. And I want to just reiterate the risk that these creators are taking anytime they go into these high-stakes Bub matches, right? They might have 500 million right now, but that could very easily get wiped out depending on how they wager and how aggressively they pursue additional Bubs. So it becomes a question of how many Bubs is enough Bubs, Cozy.
Look at that. Kitty Pride get all the bonuses from Gwynpool, and yeah, it's going to be close to 1 billion Bubs is my guess, Alex, if I were to take a shot here. The Red Hulk at 19 with a 9 Kitty Pride is an absolute gem of a final turn play here, as we have 819,000 bubs at stake. And we get a little shout out to Eggs there in the chat. I see. What's up, Eggs? How you doing? 819,000 bubs at stake. Let's see what he decides to do. He's going to go for the classic, what I love the most, playing 3 locations with Athena buildup as well.
Yeah, and this Luke Cage is going to do work in Quantum Realm, of course, as we discussed, that you're probably banking on Strong Guy carrying that location, and now suddenly you have 22 power in a location you weren't expecting. That is a casserole win for Chris.
The Wesley Snipes Blade play on turn 6. Oh, man, what a strat there. But we're going to go to the next game as we head back into Toast. Let's see. We've left Toast when it wasn't exactly going fantastic, right? So let's go and see as he's transitioned into a Hit Monkey down with no play, trying to read what we got, but another Hit Monkey. Might have been some location switch ups here. Maybe I'm missing something. But we have the Hit Monkey Nova, but does have that build of Blob Mockingbird. What are you seeing here, Alex?
I'm looking at a hand and he's like, I'm snapping. I'm like, man, you snapping on this? The confidence, the absolute confidence in the tempo Hit Monkeys here. But I gotta say, listen, Mockingbird can win a location by themselves. He's got Shang-Chi is one of those cards that can take people by surprise here. You won't need Kamartaj Shang-Chi, but you do have Blob. He has a couple game winners here, so we'll have to see how he navigates this play.
I'm going to be honest, anytime I personally have Shang-Chi and then one of my other win conditions, I typically snap, right? Like, because you can feel good to throw priority, build up that block by double. Now we have Dexter versus Toast. Wait a second. It's the same match. It's Dexter and Toast. That's who Dean, these names, we're picking up with it. This is Dexter and Toast, and Dexter's probably also trying to figure out what strategy we have going on here. Darkhawk in the middle, double boost by Gwynpool, which is a massive swing. Look at that 14 power Mockingbird. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane there. And even this Mysterio is going to it's just everything is so good. And it's unfortunate for Disguised Toast that this Darkhawk is going to get punched right out here. I'm sure we just saw his hand. He's got to be relying on that Darkhawk to actually carry some power. So I'm sure that's going to be a frustrating experience for who is one of the best card gamers on the planet. So we'll have to see what Dex does here.
Massive play here. You're getting not only the Shang-Chi to counter the Darkhawk, but you're also getting the Mysterio to discount your, 14 power Giganto Mockingbird down, right? So this is a huge play now where he's going to be able to play Kitty, Nocturne, and that Mockingbird. He's going to have a couple other plays that he can figure out here with an Angela. Great play here by Dex.
And this is one of those situations. We're going from 25 million bubs to 100 million bubs next turn. This is quadrupling the stakes, and this is where this mode can get deceptively crazy with how the stakes accelerate. And so if I'm Disguised Toast, I'm thinking to myself right now, well, it's easy for me to say I'm staring at Dexter's hand, but I think you get out of here. You gotta run. This is too many bubs. You gotta leave.
Flee while you can, but look at Toast's hand. He has Mockingbird himself. He has Shang-Chi as well. This is interesting that he didn't go Devil. He goes with a giant blob, and Dexter used that Shang-Chi already, right? We've already seen the Shang-Chi. So it's looking like for sure Toast can win left side. Dexter just said I can lose to this, and now he's definitely thinking what his hat says. Why me? Why me in a blob at Kamartaj, right? This is going to be kind of interesting because we know it. He doesn't. That Mysterio's in the middle. You got to go for that Monster Metropolis if you're Toast.
Yeah, I think that Monster Metropolis is probably his best bet, but this becomes a situation of, okay, Shang-Chi just got played, right? And this is where Blob is so susceptible to Shadow King, right? And I know that it can be hard to fit every single tech card you want into a 12-card deck, but I feel like Shadow King's been an absolute, just game stealer against Blobs. Sure, you like punching him out, but he can sit there as a 6-0. Why not? I still think the advantage is on Dexter's side here. He just has so much additional power across the board.
Keep in mind, though, we have 7. I believe it's Airsham, right? Over there. Is it Airsham? It's not. So does he have the... I'm looking at the power that he could have down here. He has Mockingbird, Shang-Chi. What are you playing with here? Because there's a couple play lines. He's obviously shipping middle would be huge. That 17 power Mockingbird. If he goes Shang-Chi on Monster Metropolis, he wins. There's several ways that Toast can win this right now, but we've seen Toast retreat. Will he do it again?
Yeah, it's hard to say, right? Having initiative for Toast makes Shang-Chi more challenging, but I think that if he commits aggressively to one or the other, instead of trying to play both, there's a chance he can win. Because right now, that 14 power Mockingbird on Monster Metropolis is pretty
is this
massive.
the Shang-Chi? Is this the... It won't matter because the priorities, it's the 14, 13. Dexter knows he's good to go with the 14 and the 15.
Yeah.
One by... More than one with the Mysterio, actually, so he's looking pretty good there. 2 card game Goliaths going head-to-head here of old in disguise Toast and of current in my buddy Dexter. Love you, Dex. All right, we have Nina is Noob up and ready to go here, and the hat has changed, Alex. We have a change of hats.
Yeah, I was just going to say, what happened to the Jeff hat? What kind of hat is this? Okay, so we don't have a Jeff hat. This reminds me of some sort of like, this reminds me of like some sort of like Titanic era, you know,
I want them to
hat.
win initially.
Like I can see Leonardo DiCaprio wearing this hat.
But how do we do that?
Yeah, I like that. Like the card here. I also love the... I'm wondering if the Jeff hat was winning, and she's like, you know what? We lost a couple. We now need to switch, because if we could see the leaderboard, actually, Nina has hopped out. Wait a second. Nina was having millions and millions of bubs. And now she's down to 4. Wait, hold on. Wait, okay. We got a leaderboard snafu here. There's a billion. Don't worry, guys. We'll keep you updated. Dara's actually in first with 1 billion. Nina in second with close to a billion herself. And then we have almost a billion with Jeff. Billion is such a crazy number to be saying in Snap, right? 700 and then Dexter.
You know, I'm not gonna be mad at the leaderboard. Math's hard, right? 1 billion might look smaller on paper than, you know, 900 million. I get the mistake, but I'm sure we'll get that corrected there. And Nina's doing fantastic. Maybe Nina was winning too much with the Jeff hat and decided to switch it up a little bit, give her competitors a chance, right? But I mean, listen, I keep saying it. We keep saying it. This mode, right? You're betting millions and millions of bubs. The last Dexter game started at 25 million bubs and ended up at 200 million bubs on Dexter and Disguised Toast. Things can change rather rapidly, Cozy.
If I was Nina, I would be shaking in my boots for that angel on the right side. Anytime I see an angel, I'm like, all right, I don't know what to do. I've lost all my strategy here. Gwynpool, not a bad play here, but always probably got to go with the vision on 5. With that, Kitty Pryde's good too. Actually, a couple different play lines that she can rock with here. Although I would play both into the Angela. No?
She might be trying to dodge Shang-Chi range. That's the only thing that I would be thinking of right now, but she is going to propel Thena into Shang-Chi range. At the end of the day, you generally like to play Vision on top of Angela, not to mention Hope Summers is there too, but I mean, listen, she's a fantastic gamer. I'm sure she has some plan. Maybe we couldn't just hear it over ourselves talking.
Yeah, you do have the Vision that would have gotten more power going into Kunlun by moving it too.
That's
so
true.
Yeah, definitely interested to see what her final game plan is here. All together, but all is well because it's a lizard and the Colossus. I think she's gonna be okay at the end of the day to seal the matchup, but she could also just be trying not to get priority with that angel at the 2 to keep that Shang-Chi. It's a game plan you can absolutely do and that plenty of people do all the time.
Yeah, if this is a bot, I think Miss Marvel's perfect because if they don't play into the angel, then it's just like it allows it to win cleanly. The other challenge is you might see something like a Magneto into the nowhere or something like that. There's no way of actually reading what this play is going to look like here. The deck is completely bizarre. Mantis Cable, then you have a Colossus. So it's not like a Spectrum-based deck. Interested to see her play the Cap Marvel on the right here. We'll have to see how this plays out on the final turn of the game. This is going to be 200 million bubs, Cozy.
Let's go.
Love the old play Captain Marvel and let her do the work for you, right? Just an excellent card in the game, especially for people that are still learning the mechanics, right? And this lovely competitor here, by competitor, I do mean, I think they go by BOT, is a Kitty Pryde Angel Devil Dinosaur right side. We're going to get the win here, and with that, we are at 56 minutes left, Alex, and we've got ourselves a close matchup with Jeff, with Dara, with Nina leading the pack, and a lot of other creators right after them. It's going to be close. We are on the final stretch, guys. Alex, we talk about all the time on the Snapchat for 90 weeks straight, our favorite variants, but we never get to show them off to each other. And so let's go and check it out. Let's take a look at our favorite variants in the game. Alex, we've known each other for a while, but I don't think I've ever asked you, man, like, what are your all-time favorite variants in Snap? I gotta know.
Buddy, my all-time favorite variant, it has to be this Loki. It's inked with the golden border cosmic. It has the golden crackle. It's chef's kiss perfect. It made me a Loki player, Cozy. It's that beautiful.
Dude, speaking of Loki, okay, the Alliance with Ryan Gonzalez, and you've got the Loki and the Mobius in one hand, but it's like a cute cloud trying to ruin everybody's day with the gold border to boot. I don't know how I don't have this as a top 3.
And another one that I absolutely love, Cozy, is my Thanos. Look at this blue cosmic border with the blue Kirby Crackle inked Thanos, and all the stones look incredible as well. Honestly, one of my favorite variants in the game. Cozy, do you have another one for the season or what? It's Deadpool's diner after all.
The new Katana one has got to be probably my favorite. I mean, it's just Deadpool looking BA. He's got the red border, a gold background again, because come on, we're not doing the prison background here. Definitely one of my favorites. Dude, do you have any variants that you play the card more because you just like to look at the art so much? If you were to put one in your house, you could put a variant in your house, framed up, you walk, and there's a bam, big variant. Which one are you picking?
Easy, buddy. It's the Art Germ Captain Marvel. She's standing stoically. It's just such a beautiful piece of art, and honestly, it's absolutely one of my favorite things in Snap.
You're doing great, Alex.
I'm wooden. I know. I'm wooden.
Bro, you're like being like not you. You're like, yeah, man, it's beautiful. Just talk to me.
Okay.
If we could just pick one artist, right? Just one artist that you roll with. You get every variant in the game. Who you pick?
It's Art Germ. It has to be. Something about the way Art Germ's art works. It's just absolutely incredible. I love it, Cozy. You talked about before magic. He has a beautiful magic as well. He's got beautiful everything. Every single Art Germ variant that comes into the shop, I pick it up. I just can't help myself.
So you're a simp is what you're saying.
What?
For me, I would pick personally. It's a close one. I do like Max Grech. I like Dan Hip. I'm going to go Max Grech. I don't think the guy gets enough love. His art is just cool. It reminds me of like old school, kind of like 90s, 80s video games. Love the art that he goes with, and I own most of his variants. That would be my personal pick.
All right, guys, now it's your turn to get into the chat and let us know what your favorite variant in Marvel Snap is. And while you're at it, let us know who your favorite artist is as well.
Dude, I gotta tell you, there's so many good artists these days in Snap, and at Comic-Con it's cool. There's Artist Alley where you can see all these, and I know that the Snap team is actively there trying to find more variants to bring into the game. It's the side piece to the gameplay, right? The art collection itself, Alex, and good choices over there on the Art Germ. I'm the Max Grech guy. Love to see it, man. Should we get an update on the event, though, and the leaderboard and where everybody stands?
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea to see how the event is running right now. In terms of the leaderboard, we'll have to see who's on top and who is on the bottom. Currently, we have Dara at number 1 at 1.39 billion bubs. Nina is Noob close behind at 1.27 and 1.26 billion. That is so close, the margins. Jeff is hot on Nina's heels.
Will we see a trillion? Will we see a T? I will have to see. But Disguised Toast in 14th at the moment, followed by Fan, Dance, Chris. You're seeing a lot of people that are first-timers, but I gotta say, hats off, man. They're going up against some pretty stiff competition here, still giving it their all, and all together. Love to see how close the top is here. It's current, and as we get these bigger amounts, it's not that they don't matter. It's that they're going to be trading these big amounts, right? And so if you can secure one giant matchup with these millions, billions in some cases, you're going to be able to get a huge lead in the competition, man. I think so far, I know we got some bot matchups, but I'm excited to see how this thing's going to finish.
We'll have to see what happens if like Nina goes against Jeff or something and they go like billions of bubs in as a wager. That's when things can rapidly change. You got to have the bubs to bet the bubs. So those that are kind of near the top right now, they have the most to gain, but they also have the most to lose.
Are you surprised? I'm a bit surprised that we're seeing a ton of the Kitty Pride and the Hope Summer builds. I think that's probably today's most popular deck, if I would say so, with a good amount of Darkhawk in between. Anything that you think we might see heading into the last hour here?
Man, I'm just surprised we're not seeing as much Airsham. Now, I know the players recognize that with Cassandra Nova in the game, it's hard to play Airsham into those matchups. She can take you by surprise on turn 6. You're highly susceptible to the Darkhawk Mystique package as well. But at the end of the day, we're seeing almost no Airsham across the board. And I guess that's the impact of a card like Cassandra Nova, which effectively is a release valve for that type of card.
I'm distracted. How did they get you down there as an emo by your name, Alex? I mean, they really perfected the body chisel and everything like that. I mean, did you just still for that and they drew that? Or how did that work out? Give them a behind-the-scenes look, if you will.
Yeah, my lawyers are in discussion with them about using my likeness without my permission. But honestly, it's a pretty good look for me. You know, that dad bod it's more chiseled than you can imagine.
I love it. Now, enough about your dad bod, even though I'm sure the viewers would love to hear more about it. Let's continue to talk about what we might see from the top gamers here. I mean, if you're looking at it right now, I put my vote on Dexter for that variant, and you said you went with who now?
I put my vote in for Regis. Now listen, Regis Kilbin, sure, I'm calling him Regis Skilbin. This guy has the opportunity to flip it around before you know it, okay? So don't you count out my boy Regis just yet.
Absolutely cooking with that comment. I see what you're pulling up there. Actually, chat, let us know, who did you vote for? Curious to see some of the names down below. But yeah, you know, I always love when you mix in, you have the skillful, as I like to try them, sweaty gamers. You've got the ones that are like, hey, you know what? Let's just have some fun, see what happens when you mix negative with some crazy cards. And then again, we've got the first timers. So a little bit of everything into today's recipe for the diner, if you will. And again, with this being a limited time game mode, Alex, it's going to be cool that it will come back season after season. They'll be able to make it custom themed and or add different elements to spice it up each time.
Yeah, this is the first iteration of Deadpool's Diner, and I'm looking forward to seeing how, they can improve on it and, of course, bring it back in the future. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to complain about a free card. Damn it, that's beautiful. And we got one of the best cards of the season, no less, in Cassandra Nova. So, I mean, there's a lot of excitement around that card and what it's going to be able to do to the meta as we cut back to Chris.
Versus Pawnee Pun, and we've got ourselves a creator v creator matchup. They're rare right now, and here's one, so let's enjoy it while we can. We've got the Hope Summer Shang-Chi, Jeff and Kitty Pryde versus what is a Darkhawk deck.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Nodalvalier is such an interesting kind of location, especially because you're seeing a lot of Ravonna right now, and with Ravonna comes Mystique Iron Man, and Mystique Iron Man can single-handedly win that location with just ever so slightly a small commitment while staying out of Shang-Chi range. Having Shang-Chi in his hand for Chris is going to allow him to potentially flip that location pretty aggressively, so we'll have to see how it plays out from here.
Now, I got the chance to meet Chris at a event over on the East Coast. Very nice guy, and what I loved right away is it's so cool to see just how many people play Snap. Of all worlds, of all different things. At Comic-Con, I'm seeing that too. People that are creators, people that are playing different types of games that you wouldn't expect, and that's probably one of my favorite things about is the mixed community that the game has here. Now, Toast is officially at 0 bubs. That's an accomplishment within itself here. But let's go to focus on turn 3 as the Hope Summers goes down on Wakanda.
I think that's just because Toast loves cereal. I mean, obviously a man who loves breakfast, to say the least. So what we have here is we do have Hope Summers coming down. I'm going to expect him to probably, send that Hope Summers skyward as he sends the Kitty Pryde and gets that extra energy. It's going to be interesting how he can utilize that rock in Nodalvalier, because I think that it's one of those low-key, flex plays to throw a rock in there, generate the power. I'm actually really surprised to see. At first I thought maybe that Zabu came from something random, but that Zabu appears to be actually part of his deck.
Nidavalier. I love Marvel and their complicated words. I can't tell you how many different words I've had to study how to say. Some of them I just have no chance. I'm going to be honest here. What's crazy is if you look at the leaderboard, Alex, 6 and up is everything around almost that billion mark. And then we have a pretty steep jump off to Regis there at 7. Not saying it's not possible. We could have some people lose their bubs there towards the top. But interesting how this is playing out as we enter our final 45 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's just that snowball effect that we talk about with the bubs, right? They just start getting crazy. Once you start rolling in the bubs and you're able to start betting bigger bubs, the stakes just increase wildly and you're able to get that momentum going really effectively. So when you start at the cereal table, it looks like you're just winning some bubs here and there, but suddenly you start winning millions of bubs. And then before you know it, you got the cards unlocked.
Oh my God.
I didn't eat lunch, and I'm telling you, cereal pancakes. It's making. We've had this discussion. Are you a pancakes or waffle guy?
I'm definitely a pancakes guy. Waffles, they seem like they hold too much maple syrup in them. Like I like a lot of maple syrup, but I like that pancakes kind of absorb the maple syrup a little bit, whereas the waffles, it feels like they're just cupping all the maple syrup. It just gets messy. I don't know.
I appreciate the detailed response there. I do. We have Ponipon's view of this matchup versus Chris here, and Limbo being the location, extending the game. We don't have a Nocturne on the board. Cassandra's out with Iron Man. I'm loving the Ravonna Cassandra decks because you can have Cassandra hold her own lane and then Iron Man kind of do the rest, right? Iron Man is a huge play into Nidavalier, so I would potentially look at doing that opposed to the Wakanda play. What would you do here?
See, I'm of the thought that
Iron
like
Man left.
you definitely want to put either Mystique or Iron Man into Nidavellir, but the manner by which you do that, right? If you play Iron Man right, I wonder if you're actually choreographing that you have the Mystique in hand, but maybe we're just overthinking it. But I do recognize that having that Darkhawk under Wakanda does protect it from anything other than like a rogue or an enchantress. They can't Shang-Chi it, so generating that's 36 power is huge. We'll have to see how this plays out, but that Mystique mid is going to be incredible. Even with, honestly, this Shang-Chi does not do as much as you would think because that Mystique is still massive mid.
He could Enchantress.
Look at that absolute Shang-Chi taking down everything on Nidavellir, and now we've got 32-13. Final play, and she can go with the Mystique back in there, and here we go for the massive, this is a 20 power play.
Yeah, I would lean towards letting Mystique solo carry that location. I mean, it gets into the meta of like what your opponent's thinking, but after I Shang-Chi an opponent's like board in that way, you'd almost think that they think that like, okay, they're not going to come back here, right? I'm up a card, they'd have to zoo into it. Do they really commit all their plays here, right? I would tend to see about playing that Mystique mid, right? She's going to get the +5, then double the power of the location, and then possibly attacking left, giving you that opportunity to put pressure on 3 separate locations, or just go all in. Why not? But it does leave you a little susceptible to like an Enchantress on the right side, if that Jeff can move, of course.
Yep, absolutely here, as she's really thinking about what to do. I mean, 15 million are at stake here. And looking at the leaderboard, it's staying tight. KM Best has been flirting with the billion. He has the 988. He wants to break the bill. But here we go. The Mystique to Kitty to Sage. A lot of unique power here. We have 2 5s, but other than that, looking clean.
Yeah, so it looks like they made a good read on going mid here because they are committing very heavily to that middle location. Pawnee should be able to flip it. That Mystique is going to do incredible amounts of damage. And as you can see, had she just played Mystique by itself, it would have just been under by about 3 power. And so the Kitty Pride and, of course, the savagely overkill Sage does secure the victory here for Pawnee and those 14.5 million bubs.
310, I would say that's probably pretty good, right? It's always tough when to play Shang-Chi. Sometimes playing it on 5 is good, but, you know, playing it late always has that huge swing effect. So we have Pawnee Pawn taking that W as we go to KM Best against not a average lifeguard, but an excellent lifeguard. And that is Dosmedi.
Yeah, I mean, I would appreciate good lifeguards. That seems like an important task to have here. And playing Valentina, that is a card we've not seen in a while here. And notable that Quinjet's on the board. So we may get something pretty surprising here. White Widow into the Asgard, bringing over the Werewolf by Night. But very notably, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for Asgard to be flipped into the other way here because it's just, you can't fill it on turn 4. So it looks like a pretty clean draw for KM Best.
Massive respect going out to KM again for playing this werewolf deck. I mean, this is definitely different than anything else we've seen right now in the tournament. Everybody playing, you know, their own kind of approach to the game, and this is KM's, right? And we've got an Asgard that we're trying to seal the deal on. Pretty much impossible for the excellent lifeguard here. Should stick to the pool waters, but we've got the sunspot in the middle. What do you expect as we finish off on 5 and 6 from lifeguard?
Well, we'll have to see what gets drawn here. I think that KM's definitely going to get the draw, but like there's a couple things coming to mind here. First of all, excellent lifeguard. I love the avatar selection because they're wearing goggles. Does a lifeguard need goggles, or are they just so used to the water it doesn't bother their eyes?
They're kind of in the chair. It's all about the look, you know. They kind of just make sure that they look like they're watching people. I think that's what I see half the time. All right, we got the Cassandra Nova getting a copied from Nico. Massive play that you can do there. And it would have been fantastic, but no cards to draw in for the Magneto there.
Yeah, Magneto was a surprising play, but again, we just made a big deal about the Valentina Quinjet combination, which did allow for the Magneto to come down nice and early here. We also have Dream Dimension, which is notable because it's really going to disrupt a hand like KM Best, where, I mean, you want to play a lot of cards, right? You want to get value from that werewolf, but each individual card's getting hit individually by this Dream Dimension. So it impacts these types of decks significantly more than someone just trying to slam down one singular powerful card.
He did get the Ajax, which is nice because he can definitely play into that with that ongoing ability. He's going to obviously try to trigger this werewolf as much as possible right now. We're going to see if he ends up playing that. He'll move the werewolf to the middle. He's thinking about picking up the White Widow and Cassandra, which is obviously that massive play line here. He's got a lot of options. This is an actual extraordinary amount of different play lines that KM can go with.
Yeah, it's literally insane, and it makes it so difficult because with 5 energy especially, like to play, because the hazmat, I mean, he does not have initiative, so lifeguard here is going to get hit pretty excessively. Never seen the bear before. There's going to be a pretty big hit here on this hazmat, which is going to be beneficial to KM Best. And look at that board state just kind of drop down and fizzle. That's one of the beautiful things about hazmat there, as that werewolf continues to bounce. And so this is a pretty dominating position for KM. And note that Cassandra Nova is the copied one, which has significant strength, but he's going to be going with the mid Ajax and attacking 3 different locations.
Some players with Valentina will have a Luke Cage in their deck sometimes to mitigate that power loss, right? Obviously, we can see the hand there, and he does not have the Luke Cage to play as a counter. Would have been a massive swing if he could. But yeah, this is looking like a very tough battle to come back with when you have a Hawkeye to work with. And listen, Agent Coulson could do a lot, but not here.
Yeah, and it's notable as well that, like, does the opponent try to go heavy into the Widow's Kiss location, right? And this is where White Widow and Widow's Kiss is so interesting, because it has that macro element of like, well, they want to get rid of that negative power, right? That -4. And so, like, you're able to somewhat predict where they're going to play to some degree. I would expect them, as I think KM is realizing, they're going to give right. He throws his big power Ajax mid, and this should be enough. But that werewolf comes over.
That is
enough.
Awesome play from Das May. Absolute hype Magneto play. He can't believe it. And KM's asking himself, where the heck did he score this Magneto play? This is why Magneto is one of the best 6-cost cards in the game, as we repeat time after time on the Snapchat pod.
Yeah, 2 Magnetos, and that's one of the things that you can't predict when you're playing Erisham or you're playing Valentina. You can't really account for that. Now here's Dara, one of the sweatiest card gamers on the planet, but never breaks a sweat because he's just so damn good. Cool as a cucumber,
We've got him
to say.
Got him in 2nd place right now after Jeff. And a shout out to KM because he's right there at that bill mark again, but is climbing right there in the 900 million. So if we take a look at the left side of the screen, we do have Disguised Toast getting back on the board with 4 million. 1.5, 1.3, 1.3, and Dexter breaking the bill as we're at 38 minutes left in the event. It's a very tight finish here.
It is a tight finish, especially near the top there. And I kind of want to see, listen, I don't know if I'm just being a little greedy here. I would like to see the morph get thrown out there just for the memes, you know. You got to have confidence sometimes. You got to believe in the heart of the cards. And morph is the absolute embodiment of believing in the heart of the cards.
The ultimate content play, right? And now with Copycat, you have these kind of 2 different style of morphs. I would venture to guess with Dara right there in 2nd and 1st place, going back and forth. Morph's probably not the play he'll go with. He does have that Cassandra variant. He had to put it in there. We've got the Juggernaut followed by Sage play on left side with the powerful right play. I mean, this is just looking great as Mysterio's also holding the middle as well from this obviously talented player he's going against.
I always joke about like how like we say, oh, look at this bot, and then some guy's like, hey, like that was me actually. You know?
Yeah, that Mr. Fantastic left side, that's some peak strategy right there. That's some peak gameplay.
Wait, listen, maybe he's cooking. We don't know.
Funny enough, if that strong guy would have been pushed over to the right, would have been more competitive at least. But no, it was going to be tough for this Ironheart to win the game here. Another victory in another 102 million. We're noticing them not play the max tier, right? It looks like they're being a bit safer and not going too crazy as they got the bills to go with. We have Dan's Gaming now back in it with one of my favorite locations, Sinister London.
Yeah, Sinister London is an absolutely incredible location, one of the most fun ones, and I think it's low-key an incredibly strategic one as well. When do you fill it? When do you not fill it, right? I think he's thinking about Silver Samurai right off the rip here. That is savage.
That would be insane. With how many cards he has in the hand, too, I don't hate it. I don't hate it because it would get rid of the Rogue and it would get rid of the Craven, correct? Which is fine. I think that's fine, and you would devastate your opponent at that point. I know it's tempting to sometimes play the big cards, but Silver Samurai would be my fun play here.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, you kind of want that Rogue because, I mean, we can't see the opponent's, cards in deck because if they're playing Erisham, there's a good chance they're playing a Darkhawk and Rogue. If you steal a Darkhawk off of Sinister London, it'll just be Darkhawk on the secondary location as well. But this, I mean, you don't see a lot of Wolfsbane. This is seeming a little body.
Yeah, whenever you have locations like cloning vats and like Sinister London, getting those power boosts is massive, right? we're going to head over to Fan and Toast are having a kind of a light competition of sorts. They're going for first and second between each other. And Fan here is ahead of Toast by 5 million bubs there. And I love this. Can Fan take over Toast? We have Mojo, Lumeria, and we still. I'm actually impressed with the deck that she's playing.
Man, I'm getting so hungry. You're talking about Toast. You got Fan eating here on stream. Their name is Hopeful Pizza. Come on now. We haven't had dinner yet over here.
Dude, not even lunch over here. You got 3 hours on me, I believe. We have Babex here with Mojo World. How do you tend to play Mojo World? Do you fill up early? Do you put a couple cards in the early turns to at least put a threat up there? What is the way that you address it?
Yeah, I like to put a bit of a threat there on Mojo World. What I don't like to do, especially very, very early in the game, is put 1-drops there, because something like a Killmonger could very rapidly flip that location without you, like, I mean, Killmonger's being teched into some decks for funsies, right? So you got to be really careful of that. In this case, I mean, I would be okay putting Hope Summers into Mojo World, because you're going to establish Hope Summers' location as a presence, because you're going to be playing into it regardless for the benefit. You don't want to, I don't think you feed into Hala. So I would imagine that that we're going to see a Hope Summers into Mojo World here.
I would tend to agree here, as again the hunger continues. By the way, I believe with Fan eating something over there. The playing the hologers and morph. All these morph plays could be okay, except for the rogue. As I couldn't even spit it out and say it. It could have gone Jeff Darkhawk. Could have been huge.
Yeah, man. It's funny to think that, like, you know, Morph tends to be such a high roll play, but you know what? It's the moments that you love in games like this. You just hold your breath. You're like, it could be anything. It could even be a rogue. You know what I mean? It's like you don't know when it's going to hit, and you just ship it and hope for the best.
Well, both opponents did snap. We are in it now for 1 million bubs here, as we've got the Jeff being played into the Hope Summers. The basic strategy going down here to get a lot of energy headed into turn 5. We're going to have 7 energy to play. Hope Summers, we talk about consistently as just such a great plug-and-play card that can be put into so many different decks, because every deck wants energy for the most part.
It's one of those cards that really goes into any deck, and I love it because it's a Season Pass card that has been tremendously impactful on the meta while never being truly overbearing. And I think that's a very difficult balance to strike, right? So, yeah, definitely been one of my favorite cards in the game, as Dara plays a Dr. Octopus that has been negated somehow. Did he get leached or something? I'm not sure what happened.
Nowhere, Alex. Look at that location.
Look at that.
We got the nowhere. And here's the deal. No Shang-Chi on this side of the board. Always scary on Gamma Lab. Actually, not the easiest match to win here, but the Juggernaut is going to help. However, if he pushes what could be a bigger card over, it could be tougher, but I don't think it's going to be anything to fret. If my guess, it's probably an Onslaught or something like that if we know what we're playing against here. But Cable, Invisible Woman, Colossus, he goes, okay, the middle with the 8 play. Imagine if he played a card over the left side and it pushed it. One can only think of it. But yeah, that is going to do it for this match for another 200 million bubs for Dara.
Yeah, Dara in the top 3 right now. And, I mean, we're seeing a whole lot of Colossus and Captain America. Maybe a new meta is emerging here that we are simply unaware of. But Dara's still within striking distance of the top here, and we'd expect him to continue betting those bubs to get there now that he passes. That says, oh, that's his accumulated bubs at 2 million.
I wonder where my Dexter is right now, how he's doing, because he is in 6th place with 1 billion. Maybe he would have lost when it looks like potentially. Kane Best won a big one, it looks like, as he did break into the 1 billion. And we have Regis, Disguised Toast up to 8th. And then we have Regis, Chris, Sack Girl, and Pon here as we head to Nina, who's kept the hat the same, Alex.
You know, I like this hat. I think it's a really nice hat. I like that really, like, you know, the pale green. It's a good look. But what also is a good look is 4 visions on the board. I mean, you can move them anywhere you want here. And vision into Bar Sinister is absolutely beautiful. Gwenpool's interesting here. It is the final turn of the game, so you're not going to get the benefit of Gwenpool, but you get some style points.
One of my favorite cards to play to Bar Sinister, right, is that vision play, the movement play. A lot of cool cards you can play off Bar Sinister because you can go with like big cards like Infinite. You can go with the movement cards that capitalize on more abusing of that location, or the combo cards, the Silver Surfers, right, that can be detrimental, or the power boosting cards like we're seeing here, Alex.
I absolutely love the fact that we just saw a Wolfsbane get dropped there, but it's not. I don't know if it's going to be enough here. Well, no, it is. Never mind. What are we talking about here? I think
won't be.
that
It's
she's going to get the
24.
win by 2 here. She's actually going to squeak out a win.
Yeah, 24 on her side. Yep, she's going to end up getting it by the 2. And also has obviously enough power that if there's a tiebreaker, it'd be no problem to get that middle power done. We have 204 million going over to Nina here, keeping that lead safe there as she is in third place at the moment, but just a very small difference between her and Jeff, with now Dara crossing the 2 billion threshold. Those that voted Dara, you're looking comfortable so far, but we have 30 minutes left as of right now, and we head into Regis.
Listen, I'm not counting Regis out yet, okay? I think my boy Regis can make a massive turnaround here. Oh, it's the Rocket Raccoon hit here. Oh, poor Regis. Rocket Raccoon getting fed to 5 power at 1 drop, man. That's strong. That's strong. We also got a Mount Vesuvius here. Hopefully, Regis can get an advantage and then absolutely take advantage of it using Mount Vesuvius and those bubs, getting bubbed to higher bub numbers.
One of my favorite things in just card gaming world, the universe, the multiverse, if you will, is seeing people who play other card games play Marvel Snap, because there's just so many mechanics that are different and the same, right? And everybody, I feel like, plays it a tad bit different. So I love to see the different strategies that form here. And with Regis, he is playing that classic Darkhawk deck with Athena, Kitty Pryde, Ravonna. Vibranium Mines being huge, obviously, for the Darkhawk.
Yeah, I mean, listen, anytime you have Darkhawk with Vibranium Mines, you put yourself in a position where, like, your opponent might try to trade that location and not realize that they're just throwing your Darkhawk into the sky, right? So I really like what they're doing here. Depending on what they're able to do with Ravonna, it's just appearing as though it's likely going to be... Dream Dimension does kill the Darkhawk Mystique play to some degree. But it's okay. It's okay. I think he has a plan here. He's well aware of how he's utilizing Vibranium Mines, because they can't win everywhere if they're playing into Vibranium Mines because of that Darkhawk's power.
Now, we mentioned this before, but what I love is how Zoo was a deck that most of us started out with, right? We're playing against a Zoo deck here now. I love that in the coming season, we might have a card or 2 that help out Zoo. And it's going to be cool to see, as we had Gilgamesh boost up the archetype, there are new ways to play Zoo in the archetype altogether, as 20 power gets slammed down on the left side for Regis, and we have ourselves a 17, which could technically lose. No, not really. I was gonna say maybe it could have a way to boost up, but there's not enough ongoing, and or Blue Marvel can't get the job done.
Yeah, this is the perfect situation for Regis right now. Athena's going to get +3. Vibranium Mines is being contested with another 4 power. And if they play into Vibranium Mines, they automatically lose mid because Darkhawk is going to skyrocket. This looks like a easy 100 million bubs for my boy.
Alrighty, so we've got this is gonna be solid here. He did not play, or the opponent did not play into Vibranium Mines, and that Sinister. I love that Regis is commentating well against the Sinister play with Scarlet. Could this be bar with no name? It's not. Could have been a shocker at the end there, but either way, we are gonna close out this game as we head in with 27 minutes left. Alex, we've gone an hour and a half. The bubs have been coming. They've been going. We have now billions summoned to 2 billions. Anything surprise you right now?
What surprised me is how many bubs that we're winning at the top end of the leaderboard. It's absolutely crazy that Dara has broken the 2 billion bub mark, but it's not to say that he's clear-cut in the lead, because we still have people in position to catch him with those bubs.
One might say it's a great day to be a Marvel Snap player, huh, Alex? And with that, let's go and check out the leaderboard, the current rankings, where everybody stands. In first place, we've got Dara, JN at 2.2, Nina, Jeff, and Atrix with K and Bess and Dexter, all right there. Dara now probably going to be putting on the brakes a tad bit, playing a bit more passive, a little more safe. With the others, seeing what they have to make up, need to start being aggressive. 27 minutes left. Start going all in.
Yeah, you got to go aggressive, right? That's the name of the game in Deadpool's Diner. If you got the bubs to bet as we get to the end there, listen, if you're not first, you're last. You're going to have to start getting aggressive here, and we might see some of the leaders drop off trying to get aggressive, catching up to Dara, right? Because when you got Dara literally $500 million ahead of you, that means you got to be betting $500 million to catch up with him. But he's in a great spot right now, as long as he can. We got a big update here as Jeff just moves up just under Dara.
It's getting close. It is getting close here. And I want to give a shout out that Toast had at one point pretty much 0 bumps, close to it. And now it is at 141 million. And all of it's pretty tight. Again, that snowball effect happens very, very quickly. And we could possibly see as we head into the final some big time bets. And dude, 8 cubers are tight. They could be a little bit, anxious plays. But when you have the millions and millions of bubs at stake, I'm telling you, it's something different.
It is pretty crazy. Talk about cube inflation with these bubs. Bubs are going by the hundreds of millions. Here we got billions of bubs running out here. And you know what? As I mentioned before, anything can happen on this home stretch, because if you've got lots of bubs, you've also got lots of bubs to lose. So we're going to be cutting back here to a game here. And I got to tell you guys, I'm excited to see how we close out with KM Best
versus Disguised Toast. So we just saw KM come off that brutal, out of nowhere bot loss, right? I believe that happened. So we've got the elite goldfish being Toast on a turn 6. We're at turn 6 here. Look at KM Best's hand. We have a lot of free cards here, a ton of potential and different combinations that we can pull together. You see, he bounced back that Widow's Kiss that he got sent over from the White Widow on Toast's side.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see that you can use your hand to absorb some of the damaging cards, right? You often see with the Hood, for instance, you want to take advantage of getting that demon out because it's such a great play, but also hold that Hood in your hand. Being able to bounce back that Widow's Kiss is a fantastic play as well. Where this is tricky is how he can minimize the damage he does to himself via the Hazmat, while also providing some solid effectiveness with his play to get that Werewolf bouncing. It's also worth noting that his deck features a Viper, so he could theoretically drop that Widow's Kiss and then Viper it over, but the problem is he's in a position where all his board slots are full, so that Widow's Kiss is going to become a 0, so he has to be very cognizant of that.
Well said, Alex. Well said. Have you done this before? You're doing great. I want to know what he has over there in Toast's hand. I want to know if he's got himself maybe something like a Storm out of nowhere to close that limbo early, right? You always have to, sometimes you think you know the deck, but there are more cards than one that can turn off limbo and all of a sudden change the game, which probably would not be an advantageous move for Toast with the current power total.
The amount of times I've won games because I've played Snow Guard on turn 1, and then people forget that I'm holding a Hawk going into limbo is crazy. It's absolutely crazy, right? So I do think that limbo can represent a bit of a threat. We also have Nocturne, which has emerged as a top meta contender, and Nocturne is very capable of turning off limbo. I mean, you might get Bar with No Name or something random, but heck, I mean, it's a great card, and limbo always represents a bit of a threat.
Magic is a card I'm so glad they brought back. In the beta days, early snap days, it didn't exactly it didn't work at a 5 cost, and they've made it work so well. They have tools to deal with it like Legion. We have a Red Hulk going left side, which is awesome because Alex, unless there's certain combinations played here, which he actually happens to have a lot of them, that Red Hulk's going to grow in power and make it even harder. But I've got to say, he has so many advantageous cards. Did you see what he did here? He's going to boost up the Ajax and then punch him right in the blue shield to take him down potentially is looking like the game plan right now.
Oh, yeah. Francis is going to get punched right in the face here. Cam thinking his play out. I actually really liked his original line. It's so easy to think about, you just punch out that Red Hulk, but I do not think that the Toast is expecting the Ajax to get destroyed here. So we'll have to see what Cam Best decides here. And I have a secondary question. I've heard this word before. It's not a Canadian. What's a chorizo? Is that a little sausage?
Oh, chorizo, my friend. So it is. Yes, that's the best way to say it, my friend. Best way to say it. I thought you said a churro at first. I'm like, you couldn't be more wrong. It's like a sausage. We do have a Shang-Chi hunting their werewolf, and there's going to be a huge flip here from each side. This is actually crazy, awesome gameplay. I love that awesome. KM Best plays his best lines first, then he takes it back, thinks about it one more time, right? And look at that crazy flip of a play to win by 4 on the right side. I love that. Tremendous play by KM Best there.
Oh, he's enjoying it too. He's absolutely going crazy with it. That is a big bottle of water. He is pumped up. Look at him. That was actually a fantastic play to send their Ajax to the moon and then crashing back down. Absolutely fantastic.
He is hyped. KM Best is absolutely pumped up, as you can see, and growing up in the billions of bubs as we have 21 minutes. It's time to go all in, folks. It's time to go wild with the big bets. Go crazy as we go crazy with Atrix playing, the legendary, the only Watu, the Watcher gameplay.
Hey, listen, don't you make fun of Uatu the Watcher. I am an Uatu the Watcher enjoyer. I will stand packed to let you know that I think it is one of the best cards in Marvel Snap. You know what? You play some Uatu, and then you get accustomed to looking at that right location early, feeling like a cheat, and then you cut him from a deck because he's absolute trash. Then you realize yourself, you actually kind of miss knowing what that right location was, even though half the time it didn't even really matter.
You know, I want to give a quick shout out to Living Tribunal, Vivinte over here, because with Tribunal, I think it's one of those decks that if you don't have a huge card collection, it's great to get. It's a great card to get because you don't have to do all of that much with fancy cards. And on top of that, it teaches you some good mechanics. And if you play it, you're going to know your totals more and more as you learn, as you play it down, what it's going to do when it splits the power. For those that don't know, Living Tribunal equally splits the power of all three locations, being great to reach into those hard-to-reach locations, and you can really amplify it by doing things like he's doing here, an Onslaught into Super Scroll.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see like the Onslaught Iron Man classic combo here, but it looks like Atrix is cooking. He has a plan here. I like the idea of utilizing the opponent's ongoing cards to his advantage with the Onslaught Super Scroll. You don't have to see Super Scroll making it into a lot of meta decks, but I mean, with the prevalence of Darkhawk right now, especially if you are playing Erisham, Super Scroll seems like a catch-all that can do a really good job of giving you at least a counterplay to some of the more common meta counters.
Yes, indeed here. So we are queuing up into a match, and I want to see as we head into Regis going up against a Carnage being played by itself. Riveting. We've got the Kitty Pride going into the middle into Pet Mansion. Oscorp Tower, always super awkward to play around, having those cards switch around. Alex, I got to ask right now, on the spot, favorite location, least favorite location?
Oscorp Tower, favorite location, because if he had Uatu, he wouldn't have made that mistake.
Yeah, that's true. That you did make a great point there towards Watu. Fired back at me. I love to see it. Chris now. Chris is going with a 4-2, 18-12, and 7-0 with a pretty big play at the end here. Let's see if there's things can flip as he takes the Kazar. This is looking pretty safe for him to nab as well. 19 minutes left. The wagers are coming. They're going. We have 8 million on the line on this play. And a last turn magic. This is looking pretty safe here. And yes, it looks like it's done.
That's a casserole win for Chris there. I mean, every time we cut to Chris, that Luke Cage seems to be doing an immense amount of work. It's funny. It's actually a good call right now. We're seeing a lot of Ajax play. We said that was a bit surprising, and Chris brought the tech for it. Maybe Luke Cage is not a sleeper card. Maybe he is the card you need, especially with Cassandra Nova getting into the hands of more players.
You know, one thing I don't think about often, and I should more, is when these season passes come, how they affect these starter decks, right? And so, for instance, like Gilgamesh was very interesting for new players because Zoo is popular, such as ongoing cards are as well. Gwenpool being kind of a good catch-all there too. It's interesting to see kind of that early gameplay of Pool 1 and 2 as it's just completely different gameplay.
Yeah, I know. It's completely different. And sometimes I miss those days, honestly. Like, there's something beautiful to the simplicity of, you know, a zoo deck where you're playing Squirrel Girl, then you move your Nightcrawler, and a bot snipes you with an Electra on the moved location. Those were good days, Cozy. And sometimes I wonder about going back to those days. But then again, I'm like, well, you know what? Then I wouldn't have Copycat, one of my absolute favorite cards to have ever been released in Marvel Snap. And then I just, you know, I'm just happy again, and I love it.
The cards that have come out this month have all been interesting. The last 2 months, actually, because there's been a lot of variety that you can do with them. Obviously, we had Copycat, we had Ajax. Recently, we had the Cassandra Nova, Gwenpool to kick things off. And then, of course, who could forget the man Hydra Bob, who, if you guys don't know, Hydra Bob went into Hydra because his wife pressured him to get a good dental plan. He goes all the way through the training course, and guess what? Sadly, Hydra does not offer dental. So sad day there for Hydra Bob and the fans, but not a bad card after the OTA.
No, not at all. And I mean, it's one of those cards I think is probably underappreciated at a 1-5 power level. I mean, the effect is interesting, kind of interacting with the snap. You don't want to just snap willy-nilly because obviously then, you know, that can be problematic. But as a 1-5, I mean, it's pretty damn solid. And then we also have Marvel Boy coming out soon, so that might be a place for Hydra Bob.
I think you're right.
It's looking pretty bright right now. And I love this Juggernaut playing to Rickety Bridge. Talk about a way to cleanly win that location.
Outside of, more than 3 cards being played there, it is a very safe way to ensure a victory as we have Morph going into Chavez or Cerebro. Cerebro could be actually kind of interesting here.
It looks like a good Cerebro, yeah.
too much because it goes to Typhoid there. And then we have the Juggernaut winning just by 3. Another 100 million bubs going to Nina. And we don't know. We don't know right now what is the 1, 2, 3. Dara, Dexter, KM, Nina, Dara. These are all the people close to snagging you that free variant, guys. We're going to have to wait and see here as Nina gets the win. And we've got ourselves 15 minutes left. 15 minutes left as we're going to be looking for our next game and coming to it with Disguised Toast versus Regis. You love to see the two card gamers go head-to-head. And fun fact, they've gone head-to-head before in the past card games.
Yeah, it's honestly two goats, right? Two goats of card gaming here. I'll be interested to see if if Toast wants to get rid of Danger Room. Like, Danger Room is kind of tilted. This is wild. He's thinking about throwing down the Green Goblin into Savage Land. If Jeff moves, that's going to clog that location because Green Goblin's going to activate, jump on over, then Titania is going to come with him. Otherwise, that Green Goblin might get stuck. This is a risky play.
Talk about a play that is a pretty big brain play for Toast to be doing. He's getting comfortable as we've now had an hour and 45 in. Toast is getting comfortable with the mechanics of Marvel Snap, and you're seeing it right here. Doing a risky play, and it did not pay off for Toast. You know, that is playing with fire. You're going to sometimes get rewarded, but most of the time, it can burn you like it did there. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. He's got the two movers there. We've got Magic, Hazmat, Shang-Chi, and Nebula for Toast. What do you like the plays here?
I mean, I don't know now. Like this is pretty rough. You could potentially, I would probably Magic mid and try to play. I was just gonna say Nebula right and try to aggressively commit right and hopefully lock them out by turn 5. But the other option, honestly, and this is what this mode does, is you retreat because you've doubled your stakes now by staying in this game. It could have been just a move where you just get out of there.
The tough two things. First of all, I don't blame Toast for the left play because the thing is, I thought maybe Regis would have gone the Volt there, right? But yes, you have the moving cards, but to fill out that location early, typically, I get it. It's the movement cards, but Toast maybe wasn't thinking that. Here's the sketch, is you have Nocturne that can change Limbo to in the game. I hope that Toast reads it. He's actually doing so right now. Funny timing. And the Volt can or can't matter, right? So if Nocturne turns off Limbo, the Volt matters. If it doesn't matter. So kind of interesting here, man. Regis has a lot of the power, if you will.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's also notable that the vault opens on turn 7. It's a very tricky situation for Disguised Toast, and this is where the Deadpool's Diner is so punishing, because what was originally a potentially 10 million bub retreat is turning into a 50 million bub, like just absolute throttling, right? Like White Widow could make a difference here. And I think he's coming up with the idea of like, okay, what if I White Widow and potentially prevent Nocturne from being able to come here? But I'm pretty sure Regis is going to leave available space open. It's a very difficult position to be in for Disguised Toast. And once again, you're betting more bubs with each individual turn.
Love the White Widow play here. I think this is a really good play to go on the Volt. I do dig it. So he's going to go with the White Widow to that Hazmat. Double up the negative power here. And we have the Darkhawk going down. It does go up to 17. Because all the different rock sliding Korg plays that we've seen. But he's able to push down a good amount of negative power. And keep in mind, Regis doesn't know if Luke Cage could be sitting on Toast's side.
Yeah, I mean, here, do you just take the gamble, you throw down Red Hulk? I don't know. Like, this seems like I don't see a winning line here. Because if Nocturne comes over, he can play an additional card there. Not that he even would have to, because he's only going -4. Right? He's still up by 2. This is such a difficult play. Yeah, he's making the correct call, I think, here by retreating.
Yeah, this is a get the heck out of Dodge play. You get out of there while you can. Because typically, it's not all the time, but when you have that kind of Titania Goblin interaction happen, that's all that's all you need to know of like, this may not be your game, right? This may not be your game. So we've got Dara here playing we'll call it Tob backwards. We have Cassandra Nova going into Throne Room, massive play.
Yeah, you know what? I love watching Medusa being played left. It's one of my favorite things. It's an absolute cook play, man. And at the end of the day, though, that early Cassandra Nova into Athena, he's going to own War Room. There's no question about that.
Sets up the Grandmaster going to Medusa here, right? Sets it up just to hit the cable. But we do have the Star-Lord hitting up Throne Room as well. Safe to say, Dara's probably feeling pretty comfortable, especially when you have a Mysterio into Altar of Death. An absolute insane power play.
Yeah, I mean, and with the Dark Dimension as well, he's able to do some interesting stuff there. Like maybe he hides a morph in there, hoping that at the end of the game, Mac here is going to leave a high value target, but it's impossible to predict. He is going to get some value here from the Mysterio mid to give himself some additional energy, which hopefully results in a really good top deck that he can take advantage of.
Absolutely here as we see a final turn snap as it goes, as the game mode typically goes. Keep in mind 11 minutes left. 11 minutes left here. And Sage, I do love that Dara is probably feeling very confident here, but he's still doing all the math. He's just making sure there's no small errors here.
Yeah, and that Star-Lord is absolutely just causing problems here. It's just so huge. It unfortunately beat out the Cassandra Nova by 1 power, allowing it to own the throne room. And Juggernaut, interesting play here. It's a very tricky board position to be in, although Thena will flip the throne room into Dara's advantage.
That Odin in the Watu play. Alrighty, 200. You can feel confident. Wow, I am interested. I get it why he did it, but you know it's a little risky going into the altar there. But I think he was fine with the power points that he had overall. I'm a bit shocked actually that the Juggernaut play was there.
Oh, Thena didn't activate
because of the Dark Dimension and how that worked out.
Oh, I guess so. I was expecting Thena to go to 10 power and flip the throne room. I think Dara's caught by surprise too.
It's in a turn. There are some weird interactions with Dark Dimension. I've said it once, I'll say it again. It can be even he's confused. The guy plays millions of snap games. But excellent lifeguard is back. He is back, and I believe that is I believe that's one of ours. Yeah, Das Medi.
Yeah, I believe so as well. And we also have the Why Me on Dexter here.
It's good to see Dexter. Good to see Dexter back, man. We got 100 million on the line too on turn 6. Final play.
Come on, Dex. Come on, buddy. Let's show him what you're made of.
This is a lot too. We're getting +6.
All right, so he's thinking about it. Dexter does a lot of self-talk and making sure. Sometimes I've seen Dexter even talk himself out of a play. Sometimes looks at the chat. Sometimes doesn't. Love watching Dexter play Marvel Snap and good old Dexter. Goes to Clintar. Doesn't matter. Doesn't change too much. The Magneto play could be. It's not going to do a lot because you got the Tribunal on the board.
Yeah, Tribunal does a great job of kind of mitigating the effect of cards like Magneto. You just want that pure power, and it looks like it's going to come down for Dexter. Almost a casserole there, but a good solid 100 million bub victory for Dexter, who is in the middle of the pack here. Hopefully,
no, he's right there. He's like right there. If you can see the updated board. Oh wait, no, he has fell. You're right. It's funny that 1.5 billion only has you in 6th place at the moment.
But I mean, he's not that far off though. If you think about a couple really high stakes matches, because what's going to happen here? We're going into just 8 minutes or so left. If people want to jump to the top, they're going to have to take big chances. They're going to have to queue for big games. And we'll have to see how that plays out here, because as I said before, if you're not first, you're last. Variant on the line, they're going to start betting their bubs, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And we've had past Conquer champions and Binks and Dara, part of the name potentially. Owe, I believe, one of the last one. And right now it's looking like it's in Jeff or Dara's hands. But you're right, 8 minutes, a lot can happen here. A lot can happen, and Nina knows that as she is locked in, focused up, and ready. And we know the Gwyn pool is going to go to Asteroid either way. Interested to see how this plays out for 25 million, but do like the hand in the copycat. Curious what that copycat ended up copying.
Yeah, and having the Captain Marvel can be really beneficial as well, especially with something like Warrior Falls, because she'll proc after that, which makes it so that, like, you know, cards might destroy themselves, and then she can swoop in, get the dub there. So I think that Captain Marvel is valuable here, especially with... I mean, you also have Vision. You got a lot of options here. I'm not sure what's copied as the copycat, but it is a 3/9. You're going to want to get it on the board.
I do want to say right away, I'm impressed where we're seeing some of these new players end up bubs-wise, right? You look at the leaderboard, we have a lot of people close. Like, even we have Chris, Dawson, and Toast, I know that don't play too much, and Fan, all just putting in their best effort here. Cosmo, as we see, the good dog. Is he played enough, do you think, in Snap?
No, I think he's a great card as well. And actually, what people may not realize is Cosmo represents a really good counterplay to Blob as well. Blob requires that on reveal to actually generate that power. And if you're playing a counter Airsham deck, you can play something like a Cosmo, you can put your Darkhawk behind it to protect it, and then you can play your Mystique elsewhere, which can be a huge benefit to try to take down Airsham players on the ladder.
It's crazy to see the power difference between first and second. Could have been that Athena play, and listen, that Dark Dimension can do crazy things, and we'll see if that has the impact of the final here. Final turn, it's looking pretty safe for Nina. However, that Asteroid M can drag cards, make things a little complicated here. Like the Juggernaut is going to be dragged over, we know that for sure. But she just wants to push it to the left lane and then secure the win either way.
Yeah, she definitely has the Asteroid M locked down, and she just wants to be disruptive on the Hala play here. And you also have Warrior Falls, which means that things are going to get destroyed. It's a complex turn, but at the end of the day, I did like her original line here. It looks like she's going with something a little different here because she wants to destroy the 3 powered cards.
Final 5 minutes, folks, as we head into the last bit of the Conquerors events. And we have Jeff, followed by Dara, Nina, Atrix, Dex, and K and Best, all above 1.5 billion bubs, probably more than I'll ever see in the game mode. And really, it's cool to see at least 6, 7, even 3, if you condense it, a competitive finish here.
And it's notable that they all started with 12 million bubs. So this is an astronomical increase of bubbage. They have managed to increase their bubs substantially since the start here. Turning 12 million bubs into 1 point or 2 point something billion is quite a feat.
The bubbage, the absolute bubbage. Now, Jeff, I'm curious if he's still playing that bounce deck, right? Because we've seen them, most creators here have stuck with the same deck from what I have seen. We haven't seen too much switch up. I know Das Mindy was doing that Magneto play, right, to finish the Magneto. He tried that on KM, and then he just tried it again on Dexter. And so he hasn't swapped. I think most people have stuck with what they know.
Yeah, this was a huge win for Nina, too. That's 200 million bubs, which is going to get her probably over Dara. But Jeff is kind of comfortably in the lead right now. 500 million bubs separating Jeff from the others. But again, with this mode, it's 1 loss from Jeff and perhaps 1 or 2 wins from Nina or Dara. And they're back on top as we go into our final 4 minutes, Cozy. And we're taking a look at Regis.
Regis first, Pawnee Pawn with 4 minutes left. All I know is I'm going to be spending some time after this writing a nice little letter to Dexter, how he has let me down and disappointed me. So thank you, Dexter. Love you. And we have the Regis with the Darkhawk deck going into an early super flow.
I think the plan here is to allow Asteroid M to pull the Nocturne and
pull
just
it in and
it,
change
right?
it.
Yeah, because I was looking at that too. I'm like, hey, super flow, you don't want to do that. But it's like, oh yeah, you got Asteroid M. We've actually seen a lot of Asteroid M today, which is kind of bizarre. But I mean, yeah, Nocturne is so flexible. I wonder if he's hoping that Pawnee plays into Vormir, blows up a card, and then he can go in there with the Nocturne and then potentially turn it off so he can play more consistently.
And keep in mind, Nocturne only has the ability to move once, but if it moves, it changes, right? We do know that. We've seen that. One of those unique, mechanics in the game. So Jeff played, here's the Nocturne, dragged Asteroid M, changes it. Can we get something like a Lake LS? And that's going to benefit really just the Korg on the board at the given moment. We have turn 5, kind of a clear-cut Darkhawk play, unless he wants to, destroy the Vormir.
My heart is breaking for Regis. I don't know if you could hear, but he was saying this might be his last shot at big bubbage. He's going for it, I think. He's saying he needs to make something happen. He can't play conservative. He's got to win bubs, and he's got to win them off Pawnee, so he wants to go all in here and see if he can make a dent and at least catch up here. Maybe get to $1 billion. He's holding pretty steady at 722 million bubs at 7th place.
Bubbage is the word of the day. I love bubbage. I got to say it. I'm going to be saying that on future videos. That's for sure, man. So we've got the final 2-minute warning here as we have Regis playing Pawnee Pawn. Jeff has a comfortable 6. Jeff's got a massive lead right now. It's actually looking very comfortable for him. Unless Dara, I have no idea, somehow smacked it out and got a lot of bubs, away. We have Pawnee Pawn playing Regis on her side and her vantage point as we have the last turn of the game.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be a pretty huge play with the copycat here. It looks like it hit a Mystique, so she's going to be able to copy the Darkhawk and then use the Sage to kind of finish it off there. It's going to be a big card. It's going to be a big card. I wonder if Regis is expecting her to be able to trade mid. Nocturne can still move. We did have Nocturne move because of the location there that kind of swung it over. But at the end of the day, I wonder what Regis's plan is here. And I like Sage mid too, because it's going to take advantage of a lot of those differing powers and be absolutely massive.
Yes, and near 27,000 people are watching Marvel Snap live right now. Love to see it for, again, now that we're hitting on the stride of year 2. Now we've got the last play with the copycat. Big and Sage for the 50 million. Will it work out? The Nocturne moves, the Jeff moves. She's stunned. Strange Academy, not going to change anything of that nature. And here's the copycat.
Yeah, it should be enough. That base power is going to just elevate it.
So massive.
Yeah.
Absolute crazy. Absolute crazy. Regis falling to Pawnee Pawn. We have 1 minute left here, and we have KM Best. Gonna probably wrap things up here as we have a minute, and he's going against Dexter here. So it is a KM versus Dexter. I said that thing about the Colossus avatar earlier, and look at Dexter. He's got a Colossus avatar.
Yeah, I mean, they pretty much have the exact same haircut, so it makes sense here. And Cam's probably thinking out this turn very carefully because both of them want to maximize the amount of bubs that they can get here to jump up on the ladder any way they can as we get into our final 40 seconds or so. I really like the position that Cam's in here, that Widow's Kiss and all these Mysterios. There's not a lot of space for Dexter to operate with here, but also there are still winning lines. There's still winning lines for Dexter for sure.
Yeah, Dexter and KM, listen, it may not be for first, but this game will determine 5th and 6th place. It looks like, right? It's right there on the nose. Look at the power difference there of Bubs. This will determine who will win, and they want that top 5 finish. So this does matter here. Time is expiring. As the time expires on the end turn for this match, we're going to see this finish out. We're going to see who gets 5th or 6th, as we do want to give a massive congratulations to our winner with 3 billion here in a moment. We'll get to that. We do have KM really thinking about it here. Here's the finishing play, the final play line. It's a Nocturne followed by, wait for it, the change of location to Shang-Chi that does not activate to Demon. Okay.
It's just not enough for KM, as it is a victory here for Dexter. The unlikely win. Not a lot of space to work with, but he did ultimately pull it off for the 100 million bubs.
Going to the top 5, it seems like. And guys, with that, the time is expiring. Everyone's on their final game. And, oh man, I'm excited to talk about this finish, as we've got in very first place those that voted for Jeff. He has won his first Conquerors event with the 3 billion bubs total earned. After that, we have Dara in 2nd place. 3rd place is Nina is Noob. Atrix in 4th. KM and Dexter will have to see that updated leaderboard. And 7th is Regis.
Yeah, Jeff celebrating here on camera. I mean, good on him. 3 billion bubs. That is truly remarkable. The ultimate conqueror, Jeff Hoagland.
Jeff Hoagland getting the W on the first time event here for Deadpool's Diner. And keep in mind, this is a limited time game mode, so we'll have it return in a different fashion. We've learned a couple things today about, betting your bubs, being safe with your bubs, and overall, it was fun. We had some crazy gameplay here and there, and I love the player v player matchups, but overall, it was really fun to see these people who have not played Snap in a while come back to the event. What'd you think, Alex?
I thought it was a great event, honestly. And the idea of Deadpool's Diner being kind of like an avenue for this fun competitive Snap environment, I think is great, with the wagering and the way that the bumps could get really high, really low. There's so much stakes. I love it because, the top position is never safe with bubs. If you gamble it all away, it's all over. So I really like the way that this format was set up, and I think we should return to it again.
I personally think that there's a great place for competitive play in Marvel Snap because there's a lot of really cool interactions that can happen in big brain plays. I want to see an in-person event one day because you could read the player, right? They snap and you stare at them and you're like, do they've got it? Do they've got the card? Do they have the gameplay? And then your snap face is what we'll call it, is going to end up mattering. But overall today we saw the traditional Snap streamers end up taking those top spots in the leaderboard. We saw a lot of Darkhawk. We didn't see that much Airsham, as we have stated before, and a couple creative deck builds. I want to give a shout out to those that went in the experimentation cooking in the kitchen for Deadpool's Diner.
Yeah, it's great to see a nice, diverse meta in a competitive tournament here, and hopefully that continues into the future for Marvel's Snap. And guys, honestly, that event was remarkable. Thank you so much for joining us. Cozy, closing remarks.
We got a lot more to talk about, Alex. We're not closing anything yet. We got to look at the leaderboard. We've got more to say right now, and I can't wait to just talk about it all in the Snapchat here on Monday. But we've got the leaderboard, the final results. Jeff with the 3 billion, representing his Jeff Bezos there. And we've got Dara at 2.3, Nita coming in 3rd, my vote Dexter in 5th, Atrix in 4th, KM Regis. And then towards the bottom, if you want to look at it, we do have Dan Sackerl, Fan, Disguised Toast coming in 11th, Alex. What's the most shocking placement here?
Most shocking placement is Regis at number 7 because I want my boy to win it. I needed that variant, but it's okay, Regis. I forgive you. Actually, a remarkable finish at 800 million bobs. But honestly, kudos to all the players who are coming into Marvel Snap for the first time in a long time and performing as well as they can against, honestly, some professional and top tier players. They did a remarkable job.
Absolutely. And I know one thing is that they are listening for feedback on both alliances that are coming out again on the 30th. We have the Twitch drops now, but also they are going to continue to probably refine this game mode. And I'm excited to see the different ways that we can take this, right? This is Deadpool's Diner. We're cooking right here on the Master Chef Kitchen, but I want to see the different themes as we go through different seasons and what have you ahead. And Deadpool versus Wolverine set a great stage for what's next in Marvel. The future is bright, and if the future is bright for Marvel in the MCU, I think it's going to be bright here in Marvel Snap.
Yeah, there's a lot to love in Marvel Snap, and we got a lot of new things coming as well. As you said, it's a great time to be a Marvel Snap player, and I can't wait for the continuation of competitive Snap, more Conquerors events, and of course, the opportunity for weekly new cards and all the excitement that comes around those as well, Cozy.
Another huge congratulations to Jeff for taking the win. And buddy, I just have to say, after 90 weeks of never missing a episode of the Snapchat, I'm just glad to be able to host with you. I'm glad to be here with you. It's just so much fun being able to do this with one of my best buddies here. And guys, thank you for watching today's event. Hopefully you enjoyed. Be sure to check out Deadpool's Diner. Download Marvel Snap today on the Google Play Store, the iOS store, the Apple Store, and check it out for yourselves. Good luck out there. As always, guys, thank you for listening to us, and happy snapping, y'all. Have a good one. Bye-bye now.